Happy Friday to all. Happy Friday to all. We already got people in the building, man. Coop, how you doing on this Friday?
I'm doing wonderful. I've had a great week. I my Monday started off with my company's holiday party. Went with the homie Pebbles. Keep trying to tell you Pebbles is a legend. Pebbles Pebbles showed up to the holiday party
Mm-hmm.
looking like Ginger from Casino, and it was Casino night was the holiday party theme.
You
And
know, a
she
few
looked
people are
like
doing
Ginger.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, when she walked in, everybody looked at me like I just looked at y'all. That's what I got. Shout out to the homie Pebs.
Shout out to Fantasy
Listen,
731 with Super Chat. He says, Herbert is greater than Mr. Morale. Well,
now hold on, listen. Now last night I
yes, it
was
is.
fortunate enough to go to the Best Man Final Chapters premiere
Oh,
down here in
cool.
Atlanta. I went with my mother and my aunt. Had a glorious time. It's been a great week. The
I'm looking
Herbert is
forward to
dope.
seeing that, man. I mean,
It was dope. It was actually
I
really
bet.
good, Mike.
All of them are good. I mean, I've
No,
been,
I mean, no. Also, check this out. No, this is a mini series that they're doing for Peacock.
right, right.
So it's a little 8 piece, but I was expecting to be like a little 30-minute episode. It's like, no, I mean, really, if they're doing 8 episodes like this at this length, it's really like getting 3 or 4 or 5 movies in one, Mike.
Exactly.
Because the average Best Man movie ain't nothing but like 2 hours. It's like, I think the screening yesterday that I saw was about an hour, 15 minutes.
Look, I'm looking forward to it. I think it airs 22nd or something like that. It's coming up
Yeah,
soon, right?
it was good. Morris Chestnut was in the building last night. There were some movers and shakers in the building last night.
Well,
Mike, I
that's
had a
what's up, man.
glorious time.
Like I said, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think that I mean, obviously the first Best Man's a classic, and Best Man Holiday, I think they did such a great job following that up. What was that? Nearly 15, 16 years later, and then now they're coming with this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You know what I realized? They have, you know why it works? Those actors and actresses, those groups of people, they have stellar chemistry.
They do.
It's effortless.
Yeah.
That's one of the best black ensemble cast pairings ever, if not the best,
I
because of
think
the
one of the best.
chemistry of the whole thing. Like even the way the first episode just ended, Mike, I was like, this is gonna be fun.
I think one of the best casting pairings, period. So, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find a better pairing of, individual stars that come together in this way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're stellar.
Um, Fantasy 731 had a super chat saying that Herbert better than Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I don't think that's any question.
Man, it was better than that. Like by the time that the first record went off, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think by number three. But let me watch myself because, people get all emotional when we start critiquing that album. It's funny, man. It's a couple of comments that I saw, and I usually don't do this. But I want people who are watching this live to see what we deal with in the comment section after, the show's been aired. These are some of the things that people were saying about our critiques. The gentleman said, saying Rich Spirit is about turning rappers into songs, which I was clearly joking, said shows that y'all didn't even properly listen to the album. This is anti-journalism concerning Kendrick. Y'all just slander for the clout. That's lame to me. At least explain why the album is bad to you, but you actually have to engage with it first. I say to that, if we have to do all that exploration about why we think the album is bad to us, it's just not good. Especially when we have given this man all kind of credit for every other effort he's made. Even the untitled, unmastered. I liked it. But if we
It was
have to
pretty
sit
dope.
here 6 albums in and say, well, let me go in and find out why I don't like this album, it's just not good, my nigga. It's not. I mean,
Let-
really. I mean, really. Is that why do we do that with certain people? Like people just want to badger in our heads that we're supposed to like 444. We're supposed to like this. Why? Because of who made it? We like other efforts from these people. It's not like we're just sitting here, slandering anything that Kendrick makes. People ain't rocking with this. Tell me a record, and I say this because Kendrick's a mainstream artist. Tell me a record that he has on this album that is dominating out there in the mainstream space, i.e., radio, or let's just say, after hour spot clubs, whatever. Where is this album musically dominating, especially to get 8 Grammy nominations?
No, I don't think you understand, Mike. I've been outside all week. I was just in the city last night, late to the early. I ain't hear Kendrick one time nowhere. We was
Yeah.
at the Best Man movie premiere. It's nothing but elite blacks in the room. Ain't that the perfect place to play some Kendrick?
I mean, if
You
he
think-
has if he has 8 Grammy nominations, and you would think that this album is what people say it is, yes. And again, I ain't saying everything got to be club records, everything ain't got to be feel good records or whatever, but how are we quantifying all of this psychoanalysis and praise for this album? Yeah, you want to make an album that, is personal and doesn't have to connect outside and all that, fine. But it shouldn't get 8 Grammy nominations. Not in this genre. It shouldn't. You can't quantify it.
What I'm trying to tell you is like, listen to this. This is what I'm saying. I wasn't in a club last night. Now I did go to a spot after the premiere. I was at a mini series premiere, Mike. It's not like it was like club crowd or atmosphere.
Yeah,
That's
right,
what I'm saying.
right.
Like there were couches and nice chairs and everything's velvet like laid out. This is like, like suited booted type of event. And what I'm saying is like, ain't that the crowd that you should be able to play some of this Mr. Morale and Big Stepper stuff? Like conceptually speaking, you want to know why I didn't hear it? Because musically, it's just not good.
And let me
Let
flip
it
that
go,
on its
please.
ear, right? Let's flip that on its ear. I think that he made another album that you could possibly say similar things about. But in that setting, I could hear from To Pimp a Butterfly, I could hear These Walls in that setting.
Yep.
I could hear, King
All
Kunta
Right.
possibly in that setting. All Right, of course. Maybe even I. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have gotten played in that setting if this was 2015. The reason you didn't hear any of his music is because that shit is not hitting like that.
Hey, do you remember when The Game was still on TV? That was when Good Kid, Mad City came out. They had an episode. You know what was playing when the episode came on? Money Trees.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
a dope
on the
record.
episode was saying your bitch.
Yeah. Here's another
Yeah.
comment. Somebody else says, y'all get excited to slander Kendrick. Just be honest. Y'all want to slander him. Y'all can diss the album if you admit he's way better than his competition, though. Huh?
Did they just try to bribe us? Did they just try to pimp us? I felt like somebody just tried to pimp me with that comment. It's like, you see, if you say this, then I'm going to get you that. But I really ain't about to
But
get
I'll
it.
flip that too. The reason why we are critiquing it to that level because we know where he stands amongst his competition. Right?
No, I don't know. Because it was,
And
no,
not
this
to
is what
interrupt you, and on top of that, he said he's smoking on our top 5. That's what he said.
Okay, so this is this. It's not 2015, 2016. People understand that, right? Like, it's 2022 and it's almost 2023. When we talk about like his placement, it's like, well, right now, do you think that he's a better MC than J. Cole? 'Cause I don't. Right now.
Right
If
now,
I needed a
currently,
rap
no,
song,
I couldn't.
right now, if
no.
I needed a dope rap song or a dope rap verse, Mike, who gonna give it to you, Cole
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Kendrick right now?
No, I'm going to Cole for that, and there's no
All
question.
right, then
at
that
this
would make
point.
him better right now. Then,
He is better right now.
because that's what you do with rap. You make rap music and songs that other people listen to and want to listen to, and at the level that they operate, Cole's operating at that level higher and making the better songs. And quite frankly, like the boss level's looking good. The boss level looking good. Look at his crop.
And this is the thing too, and I like to try to put things into, I guess, a 90s perspective, because I grew up in the 90s or whatnot and grew up on hip hop in the 90s. Let's just say, hypothetically, Damn, what was that, 2017, 5 years ago? Damn was 1994. This guy's coming back around in 1999 and coming with this. I mean, put that in context, man. 36 Chambers with a super chat. Let me get to some of these super
Very
chats. He said, Herbert was great and maybe a top 10 somewhere, but in a year with KD3, Cheat Codes, SSS, No Fear of Time, The Forever Story, and Drill Music and Zion, it's facing tough competition. Dope project, and I loved it though. 2022 is a good year for hip hop. I agree 100%. We're going to get into that. Our man with the super chat says, peace. Maybe Kendrick should have taken 6 years to make an album instead. If he did that, he would have received a tight album. He would have released a tight album like my man Ab Soul. No, for real. No, for real. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says Lauryn Hill should not get credit for being a lyricist on the score since she was in a group, just like Andre 3000 and Outkast.
No, she had solo songs.
Not on the
rap
score.
songs.
Not on the score. But I feel where he's coming from.
No,
all right, this is what I will say. And Andre is incredible. I mean, he was my favorite rapper growing up. I think what Lauryn added to the Fugees, slightly greater than what Andre added to Outkast. Because I think that Andre and Big Boy's contributions are actually very equal. And if we look into the hooks and we look into, just
the foundation.
The foundation of the songs, you could make an argument that Big Boy's contribution to the Outkast brand from a foundational standpoint could be slightly greater. You take Lauryn Hill out of the Fugees, and man, I don't know what that group looks like. You take Andre out of Outkast, you got West Savannah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So I don't think that's the same exact thing, personally. And not to mention, she's handling hooks because she's a vocalist, too. So it's a little different. I understand where they're coming from with that, but it's slightly different. I think it's a better comparison to say I'm taking CeeLo out of Goody Mob. That's a whole different group now.
It is, but it's still a dope group.
It is a dope group because you got 3 dope MCs. I don't know what the Fugees sound like without Lauryn. I don't want to say the Fugees. Let's just say specifically the score. What does the score sound like without Lauryn? Well, no hook on Fuji Live. No Ready or Not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. It's not the same thing.
Well, if
No Killing Me Softly, I think that's a big point to make too.
If you were to take Lauryn out of the Fugees, and I say this respectfully, would those two gentlemen have a record deal?
I think Clef would as a solo artist, and I say this
as
respectfully.
A producer, I think he would have to Kanye his way into the game.
Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, Clef's a genius, and Clef is he is a genius. He's a very integral part of what the Fugees became from a arrangement level and probably from a vision level. I mean, look at what he did with the Carnival.
Genius.
Yeah, Clef's a genius, and I think that his genius got overshadowed by Lauryn's genius. But I'll say this: the group he is from a musical standpoint. How many musicians does hip hop have like that, where you're an all around musician? You're an all-around producer, you're an arranger, you're a writer, you're an MC, you're a vocalist. He does a lot of things, and he did a lot of things before that was even a thing in hip-hop. You listen to the Carnival was way ahead of the curve. Nobody was making an album like that.
Hold on. Okay, so making one album like that doesn't make you a genius. Like, just because
he has a catalog
instruments. Hold on, Mike. Just because you play multiple instruments doesn't make you a musical genius, per se. Because here's the thing, in order to be a musical genius, you have to have genius work. And it's like, well, he has 2. And like, okay. And it's like, I don't know if that's like genius level. A lot of people have like 2 classic albums that they've produced, Mike, that aren't considered to be musical geniuses.
Clef has a catalog, man. I think you're understating Clef's impact. I think that obviously
what is
the
his
Fugees...
impact? That's what I'm saying. You're calling him a musical genius.
Clef's impact is huge.
In what way? Where do you see his footprints exactly?
His footprints is all over the game. What are you talking about? Like that whole bringing the Caribbean to hip hop in the way that he was doing it, that whole Bob Marley thing coming into hip hop, that's him. Akon and those guys came up under him. Clef's footprints are all over the game. I will say that. Mo
I
Better
totally
Co with the
disagree.
super
That is
chat.
ridiculous.
So we're gonna give Lauren all of those props, which I think are well
No, he's a
deserved.
wonderful. No,
Which
Mike.
are
I think he's
well
a.
deserved, but Clef gets none. I look
I
at
think
Clef like
I didn't say that.
I
That's
look at
not what I
Clef
said,
as a
Mike. You're
guy.
misquoting me.
No,
You're
my bad.
misquoting me though.
I
I'm just
look.
saying he's not a genius.
Well, see, I'm a
I didn't
person
say
that
he
thinks
wasn't great. I'm saying he's not a genius.
I think that Will I Am's a genius too. So I do.
When I think musical genius, just being quite frank with you, well, I think Prince. I think Stevie Wonder.
Hmm.
I think Marvin Gaye. I think Bob Marley. I think Michael Jackson. I do not think of Wyclef in those regards. I do
I
think
think
of
there's
Lauryn Hill
obviously
in that regard.
levels to
I do
genius.
think of Lauryn Hill in that regard because, man, it's very, very real and evident. It's evident. It's all over the place.
But
It's like one of those things, Mike. It's like when you see it, it's like you just know it. It's like, oh no, right there. That's how genius works. It don't work like, oh, he did this and he's no, like none of that. Genius? Wow.
I think that Clef was a part of something very special, and I don't think it would have come together in the way that it did if not for him. I look at him like I look at Puff. I think Puff's a genius too. I
You
mean,
look at him the way you look at Puff.
I do.
Okay.
I mean, I got Puff over him, but I'm just saying, as far as being able to see something and make something out of it that people didn't see before and people haven't envisioned before, maybe I should say a visionary then. Maybe that would be more palatable for you. But I think Clef's great.
No, he's great. And I'm not giving Lauren all of the credit. He's a wonderful songwriter. I think the Carnival's a classic.
Yeah, it is. It's
Actually, there are a lot of elements to it to me that are more enjoyable than the score because Lauren is just scene stealing everything on the score. That's what I'm saying, Mike. So when you're calling him a genius, it's like understand, like he's on the score, and it's almost an afterthought because that's the genius, not him. That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, if he was genius, like you're saying, then why when those two are in the room, she's like, and it shows, and it's like not as much said about him. That's what. Mike, Lost Ones. It's funny how money changes situation.
Oh, here we go with the Lost Ones talking.
Miscommunication lead to complication.
Is she the better rapper and a
My
better singer than him?
emancipation don't fit your equation. I was on the humble, you on every station. Like, that's what I'm saying. She like, oh, you didn't want to play your role. You didn't like the fact that people was like giving me like props and you wasn't getting it. Well, you wasn't getting it because she's just clearly like supreme. That's what I keep trying to tell you.
We're not gonna do that. Like that's revisionist history, Coop. Because '97, let's keep it real. Clef was that dude. Clef was everywhere. Clef was working with everyone from Michael Jackson to that's what she means. You was on every station. Clef was everywhere in '97. Clef was doing remixes from everywhere, from Michael Jackson to Destiny's Child to Cam. He had the Carnival out. They put cannabis on his plate. He was doing his thing. Let's not act like he wasn't doing anything.
Hold on. Cannabis?
Yeah.
How did that sound?
It didn't come out great. But cannabis was a hot commodity.
It's funny. No. It's funny when you don't have a genius around how the stuff isn't hitting that
same level. It just wasn't a good fit.
Who got the best two verses?
I mean, look, it wasn't a good fit. At the end of the day, Rakim and Dr. Dre couldn't make anything. So, I mean, sometimes things don't work out. No, but that's not a knock on Clef's genius because he wasn't able to make cannabis work. I don't think many people would have been able to make cannabis work.
No, and that's understandable. But all I'm who got the two best verses on the Carnival, Mike?
It's Lauren. She's incredible. Okay. She's a better rapper than him.
So when we having this genius
but I'm just saying, can she play instruments?
It's not either one of the guys.
Can she pick up a guitar and play?
Not well.
Yeah, exactly. He can do all those things. Mo Better Co with the super chat says a report on Twitter had even came out and said that people aren't really feeling the Kendrick album. I mean, they aren't. It is what it is. It's not
good.
Listen, it's okay. Mike, but see, this is what I want to say to the Kendrick fans. It's okay, and it's not slander, man. Sometimes your guy just doesn't make the best album of the year. I mean, this is probably the first time he's come out Well, he hasn't made a top 3 album of the year. It happens. It's
It
okay.
happens. It's
But you
gonna.
know
That's what I'm
what?
saying.
I think what burns people
Be
more
okay.
is I predicted this shit, and they're mad. They're mad because I called it.
There's
And
literally a
so
timeline
so
of
it
me
comes
telling you that you're
so it comes
tripping.
across like we're hating on it because we called it this way. No,
No, no, we didn't call it this way. When this started, I told you that you were tripping and that he was coming. And then time started ticking. And then I started asking you, I was like, hey, Mike, remember when you said that you didn't think he had anything? It's like, I think you might be right. And then we spent like damn near a year talking about it and got nothing. And then we got this, and it was like, this is what we got? And this is what I keep trying to tell people. It's gonna be okay. It's
it
happened to
is.
other great rappers before. It's like, get your ass off the ledge of the roof. He made a bad album.
You know
Go
why they're
back in
so
the can and
mad
make a
too,
great
though,
one.
Coop?
Like, what are we doing?
You know why they're so hurt? I won't say mad.
They are
They
hurt.
think it's over, and you know it could be. It
Is
happens.
that what they think?
I think
Well,
so.
if they think
I
that,
think
then he's
deep
not the
down
guy
they
that they
think, you know
thought.
what, it's over. Like, and, you know, it's a hard thing to come to grips with.
No,
It
but
was
if you
hard for me when Stankonia came out, and I had a feeling that, you know what, this might be it.
no, that's not the same. Mike Stankonia is good.
Stankonia is good, but I
Right.
felt that it might be it. You know, it was a
Oh, is
different
this how
group.
his core? You feeling
It
like the
just
core is feeling
felt,
like,
yeah. It felt like, you know what, that group that I loved so much, I'm never gonna get again.
I mean, how about this? It's like when you're saying like it's over, it's like I don't think it's Outcast over. It's just like, well, I mean, I don't think he's gonna be king again necessarily. You feel me? Like that doesn't mean that it's over. That's what I mean when I'm saying get off the ledge. It's like, you know, everybody's not king forever.
You know why
Like
I think
get
that,
over it.
you know what hurts even more though? I think that for him to get such adulation by, you know, let's say the Academy and still get 8 Grammys and all of that, or
Like,
Grammy nominations, it's gonna be viewed like this wasn't a flop. So he's not really learning anything from this. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if he would have
right.
got shitted on or whatever, like he should have for this effort, he would come back with a vengeance. But he can't do that now because these people are carrying him like this shit's hot. They're lying to him. You know what I'm saying?
You need to put a Scarlet K on him, and he needs to
Yeah.
walk around the town and wear it,
Yeah.
and take your ass inside and go do it again. Like it's not.
It's like you're
I was about to
losing
say
and
it's
people
not
telling
hard.
you
It
winning.
is hard. It is hard. All jokes aside, Mike, it's hard being in his position and
Yeah.
being under the pressure that he's under. It
Of
really,
course.
really is. It's hard. You know how many men have been in your position before that
Very few.
rise to the occasion when they make some subpar material, because that's what real like all-time great MCs and kings do. You feel me?
But the difference is
All of our great MCs have made an effort where it's like Scarface second album, Nostradamus, Kingdom Come, or in your case, Magna Carta, Holy Grail. Pick one.
there's a few.
You feel
I
me?
mean, even
Ice
Electric
Cube, War and
Circus.
Peace, this too? I don't know.
Even though I personally like Electric Circus wasn't it. And he had to come back with B. But see, he didn't get 8 Grammy nominations for Electric Circus either.
You know what?
That's
this
what
is what I
changes
mean.
things.
But this is what I mean. We kind of put a little Scarlet C on Common when he made Electric Circus.
Yeah.
Like, look at this corny ass nigga. What is he doing?
You need that fall off for that
Take that.
comeback album. A lot of
Right.
people like to act like the Aftermath album never existed, but we needed that album to get 2001. You need that, but you need to hear that silence too, because if you don't hear the silence and people acting like you are on par, how do you come back? You just got 8 Grammy nominations. So that's why I think the next
you wanna know
album's
what?
in trouble.
The Grammys have to understand that in the hip hop community, giving him 8 nominations is making them look bad in this community where we actually like listen to the music properly. Because we listen like, oh, you got 8 Grammy nominations like for this? Like how? Like,
Well, they don't care
Did y'all
about
just pull a
looking
name out
bad.
of the hat? Did y'all like put Kendrick name in the hat 10 times and put everybody else name in the hat one time, and then that's how we got like, you know what I mean?
Cool,
Like what y'all
cool.
doing?
They don't care about looking bad. They gave Macklemore album of the year, rap album of the year over Good Kid, Mad City. The person that's going to suffer from this is Kendrick, because now he's going to have to make another album and can't act like this was a flop because it's been so decorated. You know what I mean? He can't. He can't come back and say the things that Common said on B about Electric Circus. Or,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Or like Nas said about Nostradamus on Stillmatic. It's like they put him in a position now where, okay, even though you made your worst effort of your career, we'll still hold you up. So moving forward, it's like he can't even act like this was a flop. And then you got people like Charlemagne saying it's the most important hip hop album of all time. Like, how do you sit here? You can't even denigrate this album now.
Let's look at it like this. How about this? Here's what I'll tell you, and this is how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't treat this like a flop, like internally, like in terms of like motivationally speaking,
Right.
and treats this like a success and makes another project, I think it is going to be over.
Yeah.
How about that?
I think the next project is very, very pivotal. And the next project definitely can't take 5 years to get here. I think that Kendrick needs to drop next year. And, I think that's my bold 2023 prediction. We saw Eminem do this when Revival had mixed reviews. We never saw Eminem return with another album so quick. And, I mentioned Eminem not even thinking that's the same label. Like, so maybe the people at Interscope and the people at Aftermath will say, you know what? I know you got a lot of, credit from the Academy and from really the industry, let's say. But you got to go out there and do something that the fans are going to gravitate to.
He better not do this again. That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, go ahead. Soak it all in and make another project.
I don't understand. Like, even though where he took it writing-wise and how personal it is, and I believe the things he's saying on the album, like, I really believe he's going through it and all of that. I don't understand how you follow up from this. Like, where do you go from this? Can't act like everything's all good.
Real talk. You need to go back to Compton, Mike.
It's like one of those Rocky 3 situations?
No, he literally needs to sometimes, Mike, you need to go home and ride around your neighborhood to understand some things. It's like, I'll never forget when I went back to Charlotte one time, I took my daughter to this neighborhood I used to live in called The Hole. It's right up the street from West Charlotte on Southwest Boulevard. And she was just like, y'all lived here? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, and it's one of those things that touched me, Mike. I was almost in tears when we were driving over the little bridge. That the reason that they call it the Hole is just a little bridge. And then it's just this little hood right here and a little cul-de-sac keyhole. And it's wild. And it's like, no, sometimes you need that. Yeah. Like sometimes you need to go home and like look at that shit physically.
Get re-inspired.
Get your ass in go motion. You feel what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Like you do. And if you're not doing that, like when you reach it to a certain place, and I'm thinking about this, Mike, I'm speaking on the level that I'm at. That's what I'm saying. He need to go back to Compton. Because it's like even where we are, no, we still need to do that. It's like, no, you definitely need to do that, especially after this. So just take your ass home, literally.
Yeah. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says Fergie could have replaced Lauren on the score. Trying to visualize that would have been tough. I mean, I rock with Fergie, but I like Fergie, she ain't got bars like
stop
that.
Tripping. She ain't got the voice either. What are you talking about?
You ain't heard that national anthem? Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says Wyclef also helped start Destiny's Child's career with the No 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 remix. Wyclef's remixes were all over the place, man. Listen, for the people out there, I know we're doing the show right now. Go out there and look at Wyclef's production discography for 1997. He was that dude. 97 was the year of Clef, Puff, and Master P. Those were the guys in 97.
But that's what I'm saying. Okay, so listen to and this is all I'm submitting to you. Visionary, yes. But when you're talking about 1 year, like he had a year like that. He did not have years like that. He did not have multiple moments like that. It's like, no. He was great. I'm going to tell you what I really love him for. His philanthropy and the way that he's always he was going back to Haiti and helping out Haiti and talking about the situation like back in his native homeland from the jump that he started obtaining his wealth. So I've always been a fan of how he's like really stayed to his roots, not just musically, but like with his actions and behind the scenes. But I think just calling him a genius is a stretch. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Clef is great.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
36 Chambers with the super chat says K Dot is a generational artist, and it hurts fans to admit that a 5-year wait didn't give them the best project of the past decade like they thought. Yeah, and you know, and not only that, I mean, again, I'm sure many of y'all probably went back and listened to Justin Hunt's video after we spoke about it. He already claims in 2022 that this is going to be one of the best albums of its era. We're I guess technically 3 years in the decade, and we've had a lot of really great stuff already. And I don't think this album's top 10 for this year. There's no way in the world you could say it's one of the best albums of this decade or even on pace to do so. We got fucking 7 years left. Like, what are we talking about? It's not even top 10 this year. So yeah, I think that those type of narratives and putting that out there, and I know people want to hold him up and not really, grasp that reality, but they're really hurting him.
They are. That's what I mean. It's like you're not.
You don't want to give props to this one. No.
You're an enabler right now.
Yeah.
You're supporting this project. You're an enabler. The Grammys are enablers. You can't. We're trying to get him off of this.
Our man says. Our man says. So, Mike, are you predicting Auntie's Diaries Part 2?
Intervention.
It's possible.
We need to do a hip hop intervention. We're gonna sit him down.
I think we could get an Auntie's Diaries Part 2. What would that be? Uncle's Diaries. Hey. I mean, that was too easy, right? I had to just put that out there. Mad Max with the super chat says, I told everybody To Pimp a Butterfly was his worst, and people excused that, but he knew and came out with the damn, and I think it's the same for Mid-Steppers. I do think that To Pimp a Butterfly was one of those, and maybe I probably sounded like, the industry does with this album when I used to talk about To Pimp a Butterfly. But see, the difference was I wasn't like I respect K-Dot. I think, Kendrick's really dope. But I wasn't all the way sold on him being his elite status until To Pimp a Butterfly. And when I heard that, I was like, yo, this is a great effort. And I saw where he was going. And I saw that other people around me didn't feel the way that I felt about the album. And I thought, well, maybe I'm listening to this on a technical level as somebody who used to, be an artist and put music together, and I understand that process and understand what all of that entails. And maybe I'm appreciating it from that standpoint. But at the end of the day, like we said on the previous episode, music is made to be listened to. And even if you did all that structural, what's the word I'm looking for? Just putting things together the right way. If it's not palatable and people aren't taking it in like that, then how great is it anyway? It could be great on a technical level. That was the word I was looking for. And we hear that a lot from a lot of artists. I mean, I think that Logic probably put together technically one of the stronger albums of 2022 from a technical standpoint, but it's not connecting, right?
It's not.
Mad Max in the super chat says, Marcus Clay sounds more like classic Dot than Kendrick do right now.
Can I?
Go ahead.
So let me look at it like this. I don't think that Good Kid, Mad City is a classic because of Kendrick's quote unquote elite lyricism. Because I never thought that necessarily lyrically, I never looked at Kendrick the way that I look at Nas or G-Rap or Kane or Big or Jay. Like, I don't look at him that way. He was never that to me. He was very Biggie-like in the sense, and maybe Big was a good comp, and which is why I thought so highly of him. But he just did a lot of everything really well early on. And I found him to be, he wasn't lyrically inclined as I thought he was lyrically insightful.
Right. And that goes a long way.
It does go a long way. Now,
I want to say this to the people in the chat that are talking about the Logic. I like the Logic album a lot too. I just say it's not connecting. I'm not dissing it. No.
And I like it as well. It's just not what you wake up and normally listen to as a rap connoisseur. Unfortunately, I think, or maybe you do. I mean, we're speaking from the perspective of somebody who like review and audit more. Maybe the underground and like coffee shop like DJs and motherfuckers like that like are more into it. I could see that vibe. You know?
I think a large part of that, honestly, is not to be too analytical, is voice. And I just think that, and it always goes back to the core and the roots of it, no matter if you sound like Get Off My Lawn or whatever. Hip hop or being an MC was created and formulated on having a commanding voice. The person that's able to, pick up the mic and command the attention of the crowd with their voice, not just with what they're saying and how they're saying it, but just the gravity of their voice. And I think that when you don't have a believable voice or commanding voice in rap music, unfortunately, it comes across as corny, even if you are dope from a technical standpoint.
Well, okay, so let's finish up with the Kendrick thing because I'm gonna finish connecting the dots about why I started with Good Kid, Mad City.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to, address the
No, I understand. And I want somebody in the chat was like, why are we trash K Dot? I'm not trashing K Dot right now. I'm trying to make a point to you. When I'm saying like Good Kid, Mad City is his best album to me. So when I'm saying he's not super lyrical on there, that's not hurting the album at all. You don't have to be some sort of super lyrical wizard like with words on the mic all the time to make a classic rap album. Like Good Kid, Mad City is not that. Like this is what I mean about what I liked about him. He was very. It's like you knew he was great, but he made the simple stuff work very much like Andre. Me and my niggas trying to get it, you bish. You get what I'm saying?
That shit connects.
It just connects.
Yeah.
He connected on Good Kid, Mad City. Now, what you'll find on To Pimp a Butterfly is that you have a better MC. Like, he is a better writer. He is a better lyricist. The guy that's on Damn, Mike, oh, well, he's frightening and he's the best MC. You feel me?
No,
if you want to say that guy on Damn is the best lyricist around that time, yes. But that was the only time that I felt that way. And that's what makes this follow-up problematic, that it sounds like this, because it's like, well, I just heard you at your most lyrically inclined self, and then you went to this, because here's the thing. This is more Good Kid, Mad City-like, in the terms that it's like, nah, fam, you need this to connect. And it didn't.
And, even songs like DNA connected, right? And it went with the theme of the album. Humble even connected. You know what I mean? Humble was a huge hit. It's funny, man, because he kind of tricked me, right? Like, when I heard Section 80, I heard the conceptual artist.
Right.
And then I felt like when Good Kid, Mad City came out, it was like a step above that from an industry standpoint. It's like, okay, this is what I can do with the budget and with the support of the industry. But I felt like there were moments where, when he made Poetic Justice with Drake, I Need Radio. You know what I mean? Like, it sounded like a mixture between who he is conceptually, but doing things for the industry. So in some ways, when I heard To Pimp a Butterfly, I felt like, well, damn, he might not have really wanted to make Good Kid, Mad City like that. Maybe that really wasn't him, and this is really him. And then when I heard Damn, I was like, well, and then not only hearing Damn, but hearing the interviews he was doing at the time when he was kind of pushing To Pimp a Butterfly to the back. Like, he was treating To Pimp a Butterfly like it was his Electric Circus when Damn came out. And I was like, well, maybe this is who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe To Pimp a Butterfly was just an anomaly. It was like maybe he was just trying something, and maybe he's more Good Kid, Mad City and Damn than he is To Pimp a Butterfly, And now it's like, I don't know. I will say this, like you said, I think we both agree on this. Damn was the most dominating he was from end to end with really no help. And as an MC and being able to kind of split the difference of all of his efforts before it. And an MC that continues to make not Damn specifically, but Damn-like moments is going to be one of the greatest.
Okay.
And this is a far cry from that.
But this is what I mean. Like, it's so easy for an artist of his stature that's been lauded and propped up, mostly by us, for to kind of look at things through a certain purview. So I want to flash like all the way back, like let's go early Kendrick. I can remember waking up one morning. This when me and my ex-wife were still together. We used to wake up in the morning, and she always want to play like MTV jams and shit. Like you know how they still show the jams in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That was her thing. So I'm laying in the bed. She's getting ready for work. You know, we're playing the jams. She Needs Me comes on one morning. All right. Now she's using one bathroom, so I got to go out into the hallway and use another bathroom. We hear it coming from the TV. We both come back in our master bedroom. We looking at each other like, who the fuck is this? Because we were both listening to the song in separate bathrooms because she blasted. You know, it's like 50, 60. Meek got to get turned up for work. And so we both coming back in the room like, who the fuck is this?
Right.
Like, ooh, because it connected his strength. What I'm trying to say was never that he was this. He's never been some lyrical prodigy like Nas.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Or Rakim. No,
even though he was very lyrical still, but yeah.
Even though he's very lyrically inclined and skilled, it was that he connected. He made both of us run out of our bathrooms and being like, who this little nigga? Ooh.
I remember when I heard ADHD.
Different taste, Mike. You feel me? So the fact that we was both like, what?
I remember when I heard ADHD. And I mean, I loved it in the video. I mean, I just kept playing that over and over. And Rigor Mortis was just impressive from a, spitting standpoint. Mm-hmm. And again, obviously, we don't want to be like the media is with Nas or whatever, always going back to earlier times. But this is more of a quality conversation than a, not wanting to see an artist grow conversation. Because I think that he let us know immediately, similar to Outkast and Kanye, that this is going to be an artist that's going to continuously give you different shit each album. You know what I mean? Like, we know he's not going to go back and go backwards, per se. He's going to always continue to push himself forward. And I think in many ways, he pushed himself forward on this album. It's just, the quality's just not all the way there. And that's just, and it happens. That's what happens when you experiment. If you look at any of the MCs or artists in hip-hop who have ever been experimental, they have missing moments, and it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. Please
my only issue with this missing moment is it's getting praised like it's a hitting moment. And I don't think that's good,
and I think we're still missing something very, very important. It's like, no. We're not about to let this whole 5 year, and this is what you did slide.
Well, yeah, 5 years is the issue too.
The 5 years is still the core and the still crux of the issue.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it real, guys, and I know that music is very, it's subjective, right? We have our opinion. Coop has his opinion. I have my opinion. But one thing that I think that can be factual is the fact that he didn't release this album right after the Super Bowl lets you know that the label didn't think that they had anything really, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing is he never puts the heart on any of his albums. The fact that it wasn't on the original release and after the feedback came back, it ends up on the release now, it lets you know that this album's not hitting like the other ones. The other ones didn't need any of the hearts on it. I mean, those are just factual things, right? Now, you can go look at the numbers, look at the streaming numbers and any of this stuff. But the moves that have been made around this album and the music around it or lack thereof lets you know where people really stand with the music. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's not my opinion. That's just what happened. Show me another album where he had to add the heart on there. Show me another Grammy term where the heart had to get nominations. Show me a time when he had to actually shoot a video for the heart.
No, there is a video. The Heart Part 2. The Heart Part 2.
Yeah, I think it's the Heart Part 2. Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah. But I mean, even the way it was released, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was almost a security blanket.
So this is what I mean. So this is like, it's like when your favorite batter starts to lose some of their bat speed. Yeah. But you keep running around. It's like when Jeter started losing his bat speed. Everybody's like, that's still the captain. It's like, no, he's the captain. But that's not the guy that go hit 315, 320 every year anymore. That guy hitting more like 285, 290. Bat speed's not the same anymore. But because he's so loved, and he's such a figure, people held him up high. But it's like, no, how did the performance look? How the performance look?
I'm a Tom Brady guy, man. He doesn't look good this year,
He does not look good at
and
all.
it
I'm a
is
Tom
what it
Brady
is. We
guy
got
too. He
to
don't
admit
look good.
that.
I've never seen him miss this much.
Yeah. It hurts
Never.
to see. I don't even be wanting to watch the games.
I'm watching because I keep waiting for Tom Brady to show up. It's like, hold on. I'm like, who that?
You're right.
I'm like, who is that?
Who
Like
that?
he has about 2 or 3 throws a game where I'm like, Tom Brady.
You
Like,
in there?
did what? Like, did that just? I be feeling like I'm in the Matrix when I'm watching him right now because he's been so epic for so long. To watch him to watch him miss 2 or 3 throws a game that are like right there, or to miss or to make the wrong play. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh man. But and I'm not being funny when I say this, man. Divorce is so hard and so real and life altering and life changing. It really is.
I hate to do this, but I just think it's very devious that she did this during the season. That was
she's mad.
planned. That's
She
not
been
cool.
big mad.
Yeah.
She been big mad.
So you're not gonna retire? Well, let me ruin your season real quick.
She could have been being lied to too. But I mean, this is what I mean. Like what I'm saying is like, and it's kind of messed up because it's like, and this is what I mean. Like when a divorce is hard, it's like, oh, it usually take 2-3 years. Like Mike, I just started feeling like myself about 6 months ago, and it's been about 2.5, 3 years. You feel me?
Wow.
I just started feeling like myself again, really. Like the Armand that I was before I was married. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like that shit takes time, and you playing like high stakes, high level, like intense, gotta watch them do all that all day, and you going through that like emotionally, mentally, psychologically, your kid sleeping somewhere different. Yeah. Oh hell. Oh yeah. Hell.
Even for the great Tom Brady, that's
motherfucker, when tough. The first time that you're used to having your kids on the roof and your kid is not there is the fucking worst night of your life.
Wow. Leroy Green with the super chat says, the Grammys is looking at Kendrick with the Mr. Morale like Lin-Manuel Miranda in Hamilton, just without Broadway. That's why. And it's interesting, though, that you say that, and I agree, and we've had this conversation on previous episodes before. You know, my man Ron Bay, who actually writes plays, shout out to him, he kind of put To Pimp a Butterfly in context for me, because I think we had a conversation about, like, why do people not feel the way that we feel about To Pimp a Butterfly? And he was like, you have to listen to Kendrick's albums kind of like a play. And when you think about it, all of his albums, from Good Kid, Mad City all the way up, they could be put on stage. If, you know, someone would easily be able to put those albums from beginning to end on stage like a Hamilton. Now, this album specifically just didn't play well as individual tracks like the other ones did. But you could definitely put this one on the stage too. Again, I talk about To Pimp a Butterfly like people are currently in the industry talking about Mr. Morale. And I have to catch myself. Like I think we've said this before, that To Pimp a Butterfly is the best album you don't listen to. I feel like you and I have had this conversation.
We literally have about To Pimp a Butterfly. I told Mike, if you'll go back, and people need to go back and look at the review that we did of Kendrick's album, where I said, one of the first things out of my mouth, I will never talk about To Pimp a Butterfly this way ever again after listening to this piece of mid. Never. Like what he did for me on a personal level was elevate To Pimp a Butterfly, because it's like, oh, if you're going to get lost in the sauce and be conceptually thick, do that shit. Not this.
Because this album doesn't have a hood politics. It doesn't have a these walls. It doesn't have an I. It doesn't have even a King Kunta. But I was gonna say how much a dollar costs. It doesn't have those.
Mortal Man.
Blacker
the Berry.
I love the Blacker the Berry.
I love the way Blacker the Berry just comes in. It's just so gangster.
It is. I remember when I heard the Blacker the Berry for the first time. It was like I think that was the first song that they put out. It was on like Sirius Radio or something. I was like, yo, he's about to make some of his best material. Like I could feel it. You could feel when things are coming. I didn't feel anything with this 5-year break. I didn't.
And this is what I mean. I ain't never seen this happen. Like, how about this? Because nobody's been in stride like this and then pause like this and then put out something like this after the pause. It's very, very different. Do you understand when LL Cool J is doing Mama Said Knock You Out? He's talking about some shit that happened like 16, 17 months ago. When he talking about don't call it a comeback, I've been here. It's like, we know you just made the Dud album about 18 months ago, but we glad that you back with this hard shit 18 months later.
But again,
I need some Mama Said Knock You Out.
He didn't get praised for the Dud. So this is interesting.
Mama Said Knock You Out.
Just You Run with the super chat says, have y'all heard Ransom's new album? It's called Chaos Is My Ladder. Lyrically, it's amazing. Ransom gotta be top five lyricists right now. Ransom's doing a lot of work, man. Between Ransom and Shay Noir, man, they're doing so much work.
You guys just never gonna let me listen to R&B ever again. Can't stand y'all.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Kendrick has moved beyond hip hop as a medium. He's moving to a different mediums and may end up on stage or film, and sometimes return to music. He may not know it, and fans may not see it, but I'm calling it. What do you mean, like as a playwright? Because it's not like he's a vocalist, not like he's a producer, not like he's an instrumentalist. How can you move away from hip hop if you aren't doing any of those things? I mean, maybe as a playwright.
Okay, see, this is what I mean. Okay, so we need to. There's nothing wrong with people are lauding this album for its artistic and avant-garde nature, and I understand that. I succinctly do. But what I'm trying to express is that in hip hop, there's like what I like. It's a palatable level of something musically that has to be inclined for the listener to want to hear it in its intended format, which is music. If you want to make a play, and I say this with all seriousness, well, you've just proven yourself as a writer. If there was ever a doubt, go write an actual play. You don't have to do it like in album form, because if you want to be Kendrick Lamar the playwright, then like that's okay. Like do that. But like, let's not try to like bypass or bleed the genres and call it great genre bleeding because it's Kendrick. It being Kendrick doesn't make it great. It's actually one of the more problematic notions of it, because this is somebody who we know to be experimental that has been succeeding at a wonderful clip, and he got his wings clipped a little bit.
Or because it succeeded artistically in one medium. Like, yes, okay, as a playwright or as a stage play, this may have been awesome. Like, We Cry Together would probably act out incredibly on stage, but not on disc or stream or whatever you playing. Like when it comes to the speakers, and nobody riding to that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the music is for.
And there's too many yes men, and I'm gonna just tell you the truth. It's like, didn't nobody stop him and grab him and be like, yo, fam, like, nah, like we can't run it just like this the whole way through. We're gonna have to give the people something. Like, it can't be this. And this is what I mean.
Well, he thought people were going to just gravitate to it. I mean, that's what visionaries do.
No, this is what I mean, is that he needs to go back to Compton, because he really thought so much of himself. Even though he keeps trying to feed this humble role, he thought so much of himself that he thought everybody was going to gravitate to it.
This is another thing I called in the previous years. I think around 2020 when we started doing this show. I was like, man, it's a different game now. It's a different game now. It's not 2017. Now, if he would have came out with this in 2017 and 444 was like his only real comp, maybe shit would have been different. But you're jumping back into a game where it's a lot of people thriving, it's a lot of people being consistent, and it's a lot of people coming out with a lot of material, like, at a fast pace. Like, you got Westside dropping 3 quality albums in 2020 alone. You got Nas dropping 4 albums in 2.5 years. It's a different game. It ain't 2017.
And this is what I mean. Like, and we're going to talk about Alchemist album. We need to get to the music because there's plenty of music to discuss.
Yeah, we do.
including, Hippie Gang, Ab Soul.
Of course.
But, and this is what I mean about Kendrick, and I want all the people who are big supporters of Kendrick to think about this. Oh, that he think like that he's too good to like rap on the Alchemist beats that we heard today. You feel me? It gotta be a special kind of Alchemist beat. Like I don't like that. It's like no, no, no. Go get busy on some of these tracks
You
because
didn't
that's
think
what
that
the
We Cry
problem
Together
is.
was an Alchemist track? I mean, but you see what he
Did it
did.
sound like the records that we heard today on the Alchemist album? Now you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
It's on
Or
some rap
or
shit, ain't it?
or or let's keep it a buck. What's stopping him? And I know Schoolboy Q's on that. What's stopping him from jumping on the Alchemist album? Black Thought's on the song with damn Rock Marciano. Like, are you above everybody else or something? Like, that's what it
Yeah,
comes across as.
that's what I mean. Because Thought will polish him on the mic
I mean, because
any
we
day.
got J. Cole out here on songs like Stick. I mean, I know it's his crew, but he's not acting like, yo, I'm too big to be on a record like this.
No, he's very much, you know.
He in the mix.
No, but it's like he got a crew, and the crew is there with him, and he's with the crew, and this is what I'm saying. Like that Kendrick album, it's like no, and I say this respectfully too, and then we need to move on. Well, I'm tired of hearing these Kendrick albums without Schoolboy Q and Ab Soul
It's been
and J.
happening for a
Rock.
long time.
Right? It's like no, that's what I mean. You need to go back to Compton.
Yeah.
Right, because it keeps on like distancing itself, and it's like it seems like, fam, the more that you distance your stuff, it seems like the more, like the music and you and the view and the skew, and it's just like, no, fam, just go home. It's
Joshua
okay.
with the super chat says if Kendrick just released tracks 1 through 9 and kept the Savior duos and Count Me Out album of the year, double disc saturated the album. Said it. I mean, listen, I know I said it was a weed plate last last episode. Maybe it was 2 weed plates. It's a double album. You know what? And again, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. I had a couple of categories that I kind of took from our previous years of doing it. So I went back on the website, right, and I pulled up what the categories were for like 2018. And the first category that was in that article was most disappointing album of the year. Now, I don't want to do that this year, you know, because again, it's going to come across as something else. But I was reading what I wrote for the most disappointing album of 2018, and I was so, man, I was so brass, and I should read it. I should read it. It was really bad. Let me read this before we go on to today's topic. So, it's on accordingtohiphop.com, 2018. Most disappointing album of the year. I gave that to Nicki Minaj's Queen. This is what I had to say about it. I say Queen by Nicki Minaj. Queen's album release date was delayed from June 15th to August 10th, and then to August 17th, before ultimately being released a week ahead of schedule, yet still met with lackluster response. Nicki released her 2 singles that were soon forgotten from the album days after Cardi B released her monstrous chart-topping Invasion of Privacy album, leading many to believe that Nicki made a hater move. Upon debuting second on Billboard 200, Nicki expressed her frustration and criticized several people on Twitter, including Travis Scott, whose album Astro World claimed the top spot for the second week in a row, blocking Queen from the #1 spot. Nicki claimed that Travis cheated with his spot by selling merch and exploiting his child by famous star Kylie Jenner. Minaj made several television appearances and live performances in support of the album. She performed during the Saturday Night Live season finale on May 19th, 2018. On June 23rd, 2018, she performed a medley of Chun-Li and Rich Sex at the BET Awards. On August 13th, 2018, she appeared as a guest on The Late Show and freestyled a personalized verse of Barbie Dreams dedicated to Stephen Colbert. On August 20th, 2018, she performed a medley, Majesty, Barbie Dreams, Ganja Burn, and Fifi, live on Path World Trade Center Station. and in 2018 MTV Music Video Awards as well. She even launched her own radio show on Beats One entitled Queen Radio. Even with all this push, Queen branding nothing from the album nothing from the album seemed to stick in the minds of hip hop or the pop world. Due to the lackluster ticket sales, her tour with Future was canceled. As a mainstream artist with this much visibility, Nicki also received 0 Grammy nominations. And that's why I listed it as the most disappointing album of 2018. That was too much. I shouldn't have done that. But saying all that to say, maybe that just doesn't need to be a category because that's just disparaging.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
but y'all, I think y'all already know what I would think is the most disappointing album of this year, so I don't even have to go there. Melvin Wright with the super chat says most of those songs on Alchemist's album are old. Okay, that would explain it. You ready to get the Absol?
Yeah, we can start with a little ad.
Okay. Ray Rims is in the building. Shout out to Ray Rims. He says, is this the first time someone in his camp had a better album in the same year as him? Herbert is menacing. Yeah. I mean, I think so because, like I said, every other release he's had, it's pretty much the best album of the year, or at least top 3. What were your thoughts about Absol's Herbert?
It was overall a very impressive project to me. I really enjoyed it. I think it's an album that's worthy of kind of like maybe taking a look at it and seeing if it's top 10 worthy. I do have some slight critiques for it.
Okay.
They're not like anything heavy. Some of it is just some things that I just believe some things fundamentally based on the hip hop music that I've listened to. And I'm going to tell you one of those things again right quick because I want to log in right quick and make sure I got the number of songs right. So this album is 18 songs.
I got the track list up. I believe it's 18.
And it's an hour and 7 minutes. Now, there are two things that I think keep albums sometimes from reaching their greatness. When there's more than 15 songs and when it's over an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what essentially hurt this album because it's like, well, I can think of 3 tracks that maybe you could take off and that would leave you with 15 songs in about 50 minutes. And then I think we would have a definite top 10 album and maybe even some potential like top 5-ish talk.
What do you think about him actually ending the album on a premiere track? Think that was the right move?
He's the quirky, funky one out the crew, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the type of move that he would pull. I found myself thinking early on with this album, because I don't think the missteps happened till later, but like the first like 5, 6, 7 songs, I'm like, hold on. I was like, I think this is the best stuff he's ever done. Like in terms of like succession, like song after song, I'm like, hold on, he's making his best project.
And I'm a fan. I mean, he's personally
You're a bigger fan than I. Yeah.
He's personally my favorite member of TDE. I mean, obviously Kendrick's the best. I mean, but I like Absol. I like his approach. I like his flow to music. I think he has a better rap voice than Kendrick. You know what I mean? Like I think
Schoolboy.
Yeah, and Schoolboy's that dude too. I think when it comes to picking production, ain't none of them fucking with Schoolboy. I think the Absol's issue has been production, and I think that this is probably the best produced effort from end to end we've seen from him, or heard from him rather. My favorite song on there is "Good Man."
That's this. I mean, and this is what I mean. Small critiques.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Message in a Bottle is beautiful, but I'm not a big fan of you starting off. I'm old school like that, Mike. You really shouldn't start off your album with a guest appearance, even though I get it. Like, I don't love it when artists do that. I'm going to tell you another West Coast artist that's done that, and I don't love it when they do it. When Jesus Peace starts off with Meek Mill, I'm like, no. I was like, no. Give me Game first. Like, it's your album. Give me Game first. So even though I love Message in a Bottle, this is what I mean, small critiques. But man, the way it starts, Message in a Bottle, No Report Card, Hollandaise, Moon Shooter with Joey, ooh, Fuck out my face.
You know, the
Good
way you
man.
feel about Black Star is how I feel about Joey. It's like he's been killing it on his features this year. And it's like, my
He has, because he
nigga,
killed this
why
feature.
couldn't
This
that
song.
be what you were doing on your joint?
So the first six is just like bang, 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 bang. I was like, oh damn. I'm like, damn. Like so the first half is top 10 easy. Because even though Do Better, Gang in Them isn't as good, like these songs are all solid. Can I sidebar right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, on Go Off, there's two things going on. First of all, that's one of Big Sean's best verses.
Big Sean did his thing. And I know
Big Sean got busy.
you're not high on Big Sean like that.
No, Big Sean got busy. I was like, oh, when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is one of his best verses. Second of all, this is how great Lauryn Hill is. Men borrow her bars like they do on Go Off.
Mm-hmm.
They borrowed from doo-wop. So when when you're speaking to that, what we were speaking to Wednesday about her greatness, name me another female MC that the men borrow from, Mike. That's what I mean about how high level she is. Name me the female MC that men feel comfortable borrowing from bar wise, because it's her.
Yeah. It's one of the
That'd
best
be
to
it.
ever do it.
And Get Off Go Off is actually a dope ass song too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. I feel like after Go Off, it goes down a little bit slightly. So I feel like the first 12 records on here are fast and really, really dope and without much misstep. And the pace kind of falls out. I don't love it when you name an album and the title song isn't one of the best tracks on the album. Like Aquemini song, Aquemini. Oh no, that's a top 5, top 3 song on Aquemini. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
The album's called Herbert. Herbert's not even one of the top 5 songs on here.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of title tracks, actually. You know what I'm saying? I think that's not fair. I mean, Outkast was able to do it seamlessly. And really, when you think about it, it didn't even feel like they needed to, because it sounds like their albums were based on themes and they actually had songs to them. But that's a rare exception. But yeah, I'm really not a huge fan of title tracks in hip hop. I mean, of course, we got it with Purple Rain and Thriller and things like that. But in hip hop, it's always felt like albums were more conceptual as far as titles go than actually having a title track. But it's funny you said that about the feature as the first song. And I never really thought about it in that way, but I agree. I don't know if you know the story, and probably talked about this before, that Big Boy wanted, speaking of Akumina, he wanted Y'all Scared to be the first song on the album.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, KP and everybody over there, Arista at the time, and LaFace, they were like, nah, we need a song with y'all. We can't have the first song being y'all and Goody Mob. But it's interesting, Goody Mob did that with Thought Process on Soul Food. So the way Big Boy was thinking wasn't too far off. It's like, we family, you know what I mean?
Well, hold on, not necessarily. So it starts off like that, but here's how you have to look at it. First of all, the intro to Soul Food sets a very, very strong tone.
It does.
Okay? Like, you know what's going on by the time CeeLo's done harmonizing. On Thought Process, Mike, well, the guest appearance happens at the very, very, very end of the song. Like, all the people in the group got on the track and flexed and did their thing. So you have a clear and concise vision and purview of the crew. Like, so Thought Process is more of an outlier than the norm of what you get when you put somebody on.
I don't think there's any other song that would have been more fitting first on that album than Thought Process. I can't hear any other song going first. It set an incredible tone. It let you know who everybody in that group was.
Mm-hmm.
But that's always been a lot of the classic album makers' mindset, was like, no, we need the group or the act to set the tone with no features. So I think that's a very great point. Eric Terrell with the super chat says KD3, SZA, SOS, Wasteland, Brent, Fire, and Ari Lennox, best album I've heard this year. Plus, Coop, stop making excuses for Brady. He just ain't got it no more. It's no more in the tank.
Sometimes you lose it.
Well, I ain't gonna say that until the playoffs hit. We'll see what playoff Brady look like. Because if he's sneaking the playoffs, and I mean, he's pretty much in there, right? Because that division is.
No. There's a way that Carolina could still win the division, I believe.
Oh, okay. He's
Yeah,
sneaking the
that's possible.
playoffs. Then we'll see. We'll see from
Well, they're
there.
probably gonna play Dallas. So if Dallas loses to this Tampa Bay team, it's like, oh, buddy, you better hide.
Yeah, it'll be a lot to talk about. Um, what was your favorite song on this album?
I really enjoyed Moonshooter
Okay,
and Hollandaise,
I
but
like Hollandaise.
I want to give it some more burn too, because I had to listen to it in two different settings. Like I got to listen to the first half, and then I got to listen to the second half, and then I got to kind of like go back through and be like, okay, it is what I thought that it was. I just feel like it loses steam around Fallacy and Herbert. You know?
Yeah, I think it could have been shorter too. I think that, and we've talked about this at length when it comes to the streaming era. It's one of those things where artists who are getting a pretty decent push, they want to put more songs on there because that's obviously just going to increase their streams. But it's like you don't want it to feel forced. And on this album, it feels like you said, the songs that were excessive were more towards the end, and I think the album would have just been a lot better. And it's already a really dope album. It would have been even better if it was cut down to maybe about 13, 14 songs. He
How
didn't
about
need
this? Like,
18 on here.
how about this? After Go Off, it's like, give me It Be Like That and Gotta Rap, and you can end the album.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Because the positive vibes only, it's like, nah, you could have kept that a little bit. I was like, okay. That was one of those things where it's like, okay, it's officially hit the hour mark, and you made this type of song, which is one of the weaker songs on the album, at the hour mark. It's like, you don't want to start losing people at the end like that when you've made such a dope project. And so I think and it's kind of funny because we don't have these talks as much as I feel like we had last year. It's just a conciseness issue. It's not like the records aren't there, and it's not like it's not a very enjoyable album with a lot of highlights and a lot of dope moments. And I think, like you, I think you could argue that this is maybe his best album, and definitely production-wise, best effort. Because I was trying to think to myself, is like, I know sometimes when you're experimental like he is, it sounds good to you and it may sound good with your voice, but it may not resonate. I feel like structurally these beats resonate more than any other collection of beats that he's selected from.
I like Do Better as well. And I want to clarify as far as what I'm saying is with the end of the album, I still would like Gotta Rap to end the album. But
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like, kind of subtract some of the stuff before it. Because Gotta
like
Rap's dope.
Like literally, I feel like you could take out Positive Vibes and Herbert and Fallacy and Church on the Move, and you would be fine, and you would have a top 10 album. And I like Church on the Move too, but it's like,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to make tough cuts,
Right. You don't necessarily have to have that record. Like, what about that record? Like, it's a good song, but what about that record says, oh, this got to be on the album?
What I will say, in comparison to his I guess former TDE contemporary, and like people were saying in the chat, when I heard the first couple of songs, I'm like, oh yeah, he came to make a hip hop album.
Yeah.
And and that's not what I mean. Kendrick made a hip hop album, but maybe not a rap album. Let me say it like that. When you hear those drums come in, and drums come in a certain way, and flows are hitting a certain way, and artists are collaborating and spitting back and forth a certain way, that's on some hip hop shit. But again, that goes back to what you were saying, like, you got to go back to Compton. You got to see and feel the environment and the people and the way people are moving. Like, it's so many things that you can go to and get re-inspired.
It makes you emotional, Mike. It does. That's sometimes why it's like if I'm going through a thing, I literally I'll just ride through the east side sometimes.
It just reminds you of why you do this. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it and you're putting in the work, you're creating, you're doing the tours and all that, you don't really have that time to really clear your head and remember why you're doing this, and remember how hard you worked to get here, and remember the days when you dreamed of doing this and you wanted it that bad. I mean, again, I'm not in Kendrick's head, but it feels like, just based on this effort, he doesn't, have a great grasp or reflection of those days. But hearing this Ab Soul album, I'm like, yeah, he came to rap.
Mm-hmm. very much interested in rapping. So
Yeah.
here's what I would submit to you. I don't think this is maybe a top 10 album. What's backing up our top 10? What's
I
in the
think the
back of our top
last
10?
one that we had was It's Almost Dry.
So this isn't better than It's Almost Dry to me. Is it to you?
I don't know. I think It's Almost Dry has the big highlights. But I think
It's
there's some things that I've been critical about on It's Almost Dry that he was able to seamlessly accomplish, but he's always been that expressive anyway. It's Almost Dry doesn't give you anything into the mind of Pusha T. Just doesn't. It's very it's hollow in that sense, and that's my
it
critique
is.
on It's Almost Dry. And I think my critique is more so with the artist than the actual album per se. I think this album's better produced than It's Almost Dry.
I can agree to that. And now this is what I mean. So, the MC, since we were talking about Brady earlier, the MC is the quarterback in this hip hop sphere. It's the most important person in the sphere. And as an MC, this is what I mean. Well, when you make some of the missteps that Ab Soul made with this album, and there's not a lot, but there are some. I think I kind of just highlighted them, and I hope I wasn't like being overly critical, just like with the intro stuff and the length stuff, because it can seem like you're nitpicking when you're talking about these things. But these are the critical components of like making a great piece of work is the editing stage and the process and the track selection and the sequence. Like these things really, really do matter. And that's what we do here at According to Hip Hop is break that down. And so in the breakdown of it, I would tell you that had this editing stuff been done, I would feel comfortable putting it ahead of Almost Dry. But I'm not putting an album that's a little too long, that has some missteps, that he didn't even start off by himself, ahead of Brambleton and Let the Smoker Shine the Coupe and Diet Coke and Neck and Wrist. And just so you know who you're dealing, it's like, no, I can't do that because, like, even for what he didn't provide you in depth, the MC level is still pretty ridiculous now, isn't it?
And I think the tiebreaker in this situation, and we've talked about this before, is when you release in December, you're given an unfair advantage over people who have had to sustain the whole year, and we're not able to see how it holds up for another 6-7 months in relation to the year. So you would have to give the nod to the person who has had to do that.
Now I believe we had Ransom at 11. Is this better than the Ransom?
I would like to go to the people on that one. What do you guys think? No, is it No Rest for the Wicked? I don't know why I keep messing up this.
No one mourns the wicked.
No one mourns the wicked. I'm gonna pray for the wicked. All right, yeah. No one mourns the wicked or Herbert. I mean, I think that's something to really send to the people. Mad Max with the super chat says, since Eric mentioned the SZA album, my question is, SZA, Summer, and Ari from Dreamville, the R&B version of Drake, Dot, and Cole, and which one is which? Huh. I would say SZA's Drake. I would say Summer's Kendrick and Ari's Cole. I know it's safe to say Ari's Cole, but yeah, Summer's Kendrick. Leroy Green.
Is she?
I think so.
I think, okay.
Erratic, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Say less. Say less.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, do you guys feel the Dungeon family may have been too experimental like way Kendrick is going? I think in reference to, I want to be careful when I say this. I think that the Dungeon family start going into sectors that certain members of the group or the collective were comfortable going in, but it wasn't as beneficial for everybody, right? I think that Killer Mike suffered from the fact that they started getting really, really experimental in a time where he was just a beats and rhymes MC. I think he caught them at the wrong time. I think if Killer Mike comes in with the Dungeon around 97, 98, things are different as far as where they were production-wise. I think that where Goody Mob was going on World Party didn't really benefit Cool Joe or Timo that much. in ways that it could have benefited, Gipp and CeeLo moving forward.
True.
So I think that, just if they would have been able to do successfully what Wu-Tang was able to do, have these individual chambers and let Ray and Ghost do what they're doing over here. Let Jizza do what he does over here. Let Dirty do what he does over here. Let Meth do what he does over here. I think it kind of could have translated a little bit better. Not everybody was able to seamlessly adjust in a way like Big Boy was able to adjust to Dre and vice versa. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. I think the experimentation is great, but it just didn't benefit everybody equally. 36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, Do Better is the type of song I would have wanted on Mr. Morale. Conscious, personal, has depth, and still sounds like it's on some rap shit.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what people got to understand too. Part of the skill level and you being an all-time great is to be palatable. Like, that is a skill in itself, to be relatable. There's a lot of people who aren't like lyrical miracle MCs, but have a talent of being able to connect. A Scarface, a Ice Cube. Tupac is the quintessential version of that. Like, he's able to connect on all levels, on all subjects, and all sounds, everything. Mad Max says, Mike, it's not that Push never gave us a glimpse into his mind. Let's be for real. Push gave us an average double entendres and a quick short verses. What was his best verse on It's Almost Dry? Can we say off the top, like, yo, he killed it on that? Because the one verse that we keep highlighting is the Malice verse.
I think the Malice verse is the best verse on the album, but that's some of that. This is what I mean. Hip hop, well, the impact matters. So bring her up again. Lauryn Hill on Nobody, that impact is so heavy. It's like, when the last time you heard Lauryn rap? It's like, oh shit. You ain't heard No Malice in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Right. So there's an impact effect that comes with it. The verse is great, but the impact matters. Even in the verse.
I see second verse of Open Air.
I could see that. Oh, you want to know? I like Open Air. No. Herbert's not better than It's Almost Dry. Call my 1-800 Call My Bluff and Open Air. Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it to It's Almost Dry.
I see another second verse on Open Air. Okay. Speaking of that album, what were you gonna say, Coop? I don't want to throw us all the way off, but I wanted to kind of roll along.
Oh no, I would just say, what would you rate this album though?
I mean, I think we need to do further listen. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of time left in the year, but I mean, it sounds like a solid 4 off top, and I know people are going to be like, another 4, but I'm going to have to put it. What did we give It's Almost Dry? Let's judge.
I feel like we gave that a 4. Hold on. As a matter of fact, hold on. I'll tell you exactly what we gave it. Give me 1 second.
Ray Realm says, haven't heard a peep out of Nas haters lately. Did you see Jigga's title playlist? KD3 in heavy rotation. God's Influence Guys in the upper realm.
4. We gave Till It's Almost Dry a 4. And so that's why I was saying, even when you said 4, I was like, I don't know if this is a 4 based on how we kind of like molded the system now that we're auditing the year. Because think about it. Okay, so we have Brambleton, Let the Smoker Shine the Coupe, Diet Coke, Neck and Wrist, I'll Pray for You, Open Air, 1-800 Call My Bluff. What 7 Ab Soul Records is like, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, like, I don't know if it's a 4. And I think the way that we're looking, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 3.9, 4-ish or something like that.
Because I'm not certain that it's better than the Ransom, because my first intuition is to say no, that it's not better than the Ransom. I don't think it is either.
I mean, Ransom, I think it didn't feel like he ran too long. His bar work was crazy, and so was Abs, but I think if I had to pick between the two, I would pick his bar work.
Yeah, I'd probably take Ransom too.
Yeah.
So I would tentatively say I'd say a 3.9 and maybe slot it in that 12 to 15 slot in terms of its album of the year potential.
And that's
Or
crazy
maybe
because it's just been such a great year, you know?
you want to know it? It's a great litmus test album that he put together a very good project like this late in the year because it gives us stuff to bounce back off of. Like I love hearing a project that's good enough to say it's like, well, hey, does it deserve to be in our top 20 and where? Because then we can start kind of parsing it out. Because we still haven't changed the fact that it's like, well, we literally have our top 11 worked out. So maybe next week for on Wednesday we'll maybe work on 11 to 20.
I think that's a very plausible thing. We just got some really good music today, and you know, we had some good discussions anyway. Like even with the Kendrick discussion and all that. I mean, I think these are necessary talks that we got to have with the hip hop consensus. Did you see? Speaking of top albums of the year, did you see Rolling Stone's top? What was it? 2025 rap albums?
No.
Okay, well,
I heard that Till It's Almost Dry came in at number 1 and King's Disease 3 came in at number 2.
yeah, It's Almost Dry was number one. And yeah, King's Disease 2, I'm sorry, King's Disease 3 was at 2, and people were blowing up our inbox with the
Because they
image that
did
I
the
have
wrong
here on
cover.
the screen. They put
Yeah.
the KD1 cover as the cover. And somebody brought up a really good point. They put it at number 2 and didn't even rate the album. They didn't review the album, rather.
They knew better.
I found that really interesting for an album that, I mean, you're a publication, right? And, you know, reviews is what you do. How do you rate an album so high but didn't even do a review on it? Are people shook to do Nas album reviews at this point? Has the fan base gotten the publications, the major publications who be on that bullshit, clearly, and who have been called out for their bullshit? Are they shook to even write a review?
It appears so. And good. But here's what I'll submit to you. And this is what I mean. And I'm very, very serious when I say this. Should maybe amicably reach out to these hip hop publications that, quite frankly, don't what I feel like have core foundational credible hip hop journalism going on, and offer to help them because, quite frankly, in yourself, myself, and Denim, we have 3 writers that we could submit to them to be like, well, you know, we'll help you since you're kind of like, you know, struggling and shit. We can help. We can help. You can call Coop. I'm here.
I don't think they want the help. I don't think that
They need
that's
they
the
need to take the
problem.
help. I'm trying
I
to
don't
be
think
nice.
that's the problem. I think
They
that
need
they
help.
could.
Need a lot of help. They need the help.
They understand what's going on. And
No, they don't.
They do, because if they didn't understand what was going on, this wouldn't be at number 2. And
Oh no,
you
they
know what I
understand
mean?
that. They understand that they need to shut the fuck up because this album is so good and they can't do their normal slander, and so they're just going to try to bypass it. But they still need our help.
I
Get it?
think that
We need Jesus too, but that's another discussion.
well, this is the thing, though, Coop. I don't think that. Do you think they truly listen to It's Almost Dry and listen to KD3 and said It's Almost Dry is the better album? Because I don't think that there's any way that anybody with ears, even if you're not a hip hop listener like that, could listen. And I say this respectfully, could listen to KD3 and It's Almost Dry and say that It's Almost Dry is the better album.
So Rolling Stone needs what I call like their old school. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. Go ahead.
No, what I was just gonna say though, if you take out the MCs, KD3 is a much better produced album alone. We're taking Nas and Pusha out of this. Like let's pull the MCs out of the album, right? KD3 is a much better produced album. And shout out to Hit Boy for that. You know what I mean? Like I think it's the best produced album that I've heard from him. And that's saying a lot over his illustrious career, right? Then you add the MCs in there. You look at the range of, subject matter, range of flows, range of concepts. It's Almost Dry doesn't give you that, right? It doesn't. I think Brambleton is probably the shining moment on that album from a lyrical standpoint because he takes you there, right? Nas does that on damn near every record on that album, right?
Well, here's how
And
you should look at it when things are close, or at least this is how maybe I try to look at it when things are close, musically sometimes. Well, Brambleton and Let the Smoker Shine the Coop, the best songs on Till It's Almost Dry.
I think I think the best song on It's
And
Almost
Diet
Dry
Coke.
is Diet Coke. And
So let's just
I think that what happened with this album, the best songs, or some of the best songs, got put out way too early. I think that putting Hear Me Clearly on Nico's album was a huge mistake and useless. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't help anybody. No one cares about this Nico album. And I say that respectfully, he's not an artist. You know what I mean? If Pusha had an album coming so close to that, one or two things should have happened. He should have just kept the song for itself or just not had the song on his album at all. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't have been on both efforts. And like I said, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. Like I said about the Kendrick thing, even though the Kendrick thing happened after the fact with the Heart Part 5, the fact that we even saw Hear Me Clearly on the track list, you and I were like, oh, that's not a good sign.
this is the first thing we talked about.
Yeah,
when we saw the track list, we were like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, because this song was just on an album that came out 2 weeks before that.
Well, here's what I would tell you and submit to you. So let's say we take Diet Coke like you let's say Diet Coke's the best song Until It's Almost Dry.
Right.
Where does that song rank on KD3? You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's not a conversation, because I'm like, oh, that's not a top 5 record on KD3, not even close. Is it better than Get Light, Legit, Thun, Mike and Quincy, WTF, SMH, Reminisce?
I think it's the only song, in my opinion, on the album that could actually compete with those songs, though, where there could be a discussion. Because if we start going down the line with the other stuff, it's not even really a discussion.
It's not, and this is what I mean. So I'm glad you got to finish your thought, because that was actually important. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No,
Let me piggyback a little bit, because it kind of translates to my thought. Well, Rolling Stone is still old school journalism, so they need taglines and headlines. And so, headline, rap album produced by Kanye and Pharrell. You feel me? Like, that's the thing that they do. That's why it's like, when you're saying they don't want our help, it's like, but you need our help, because you do stuff like that and put the albums at #1 because of that headline, old school journalistic name brand recognition, instead of just giving the just artists their due. So.
And I think for me, and we talked about this too, the fact that Nas took on this album, 17 tracks, for Dolo as an MC, it's not even really comparable. It's Almost Dry is not even comparable to KD3 when you talk about the MC work. Like I said, take the MCs out of it. From a production standpoint, KD3 is the superior album. It's way better produced than It's Almost Dry, and I don't even think that's close. But then you throw the MC in there, and the way that Nas is rapping on there, and then he did it 17 tracks with no help, and you got all kind of people on It's Almost Dry, it's not even close from that standpoint.
I mean, Mike, you know who my second favorite guy is? We talking about my second favorite guy.
I love Pusha T. We share a birthday, man. That's my guy.
Y'all share a birthday. He's my favorite MC post what I would call Nas's first prime. Notice how I have to say Nas's first prime now. Pusha T's been my favorite MC post Nas's first prime. But it's not a conversation.
No, it's not. And you know how I feel about Daytona. I love Daytona.
I think I think you're one of the few people that loves Daytona more than me. So I get it.
I love Daytona. Daytona's incredible.
You do. You really, really do. Pull out the vinyl right quick for him, Mike.
I got it right here, man. I have to get up.
I told you I don't like that picture. I don't like what they did with
I don't like the picture either, but yeah. I'll pull out the vinyl before we get off the show. But yeah, man, I love Daytona. And I know who Pusha can be on the mic and as a songmaker. He wasn't that on this album. And although I love him, he's never been Nas on the mic, because the top 10. We've
MC.
talked about this on this show.
Somebody with top 10 capabilities, somebody with the greatest of MC all-time capabilities. No, there is a difference. There's a difference.
It's, yeah. I mean, There's very
But
few people that are
Push
LeBron,
is
right?
very Jadakiss, like in a sense. It's like, no, he can get on a record and give somebody like Nas or Jay the business. He ain't like no slouch.
Yeah,
But
no.
this nigga Nas rapping right now, I'm like, the way this nigga rapping right
The
now,
different flows, the different
it's not a
cadences,
conversation.
the concepts, the creativity. It's not even. You can't listen to those two albums and say, you know what, man, I'm really torn here. It's almost drives the better out. No, you can't. You can't. So I feel like the pressure that, first of all, it's clearly pressure on a publication like a Rolling Stone who has dissed Nas in the past, even in this KD series.
Yes.
They were feeling the pressure. They didn't even want to write a review because they knew their options were we don't write a review, or if we write a review, we trash it or find some cheap shots to throw in there, and we lose even more credibility. So we'll just not write a review. They didn't even have an option of actually writing a real credible review. That's why I was saying they don't want our help. You know what I mean? Like the option.
They don't want to be credible.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, they rather just not write a review than actually go out there and be honest about a Nas effort for whatever reason. So what they do is they go out there and make the album number 2 and put the wrong album cover up there and not do the right thing by, putting it number 1. How can you have an album ranked so high that you didn't even bother to review? You know what I mean? That's like us sitting here having a top 10 hip hop albums discussion. And even though we're a hip hop platform and they're really not, top 10 hip hop album discussion, and we have an album at number 2 that we didn't even do a damn show on. How? It's crazy. 007, shout out to 007 here with the super chat. He said Big Sean took shots at 21 on the track. What did he say? Missed that.
I mean, were those 21 shots? Okay.
Matt Max with the super chat says Big Sean deserves his flowers. He never made a classic. And he got some cringe lines, but when he gets in his bag, Sean's one of the best. I will give him that, man. Sean can catch you on a record. When Drake is on a record with Sean, you can hear the competition. Both of those guys kind of, I don't want to say bring out the best in each other in a sense, but you could tell they're very competitive when they're on the tracks together because they know that, this guy can spit. Darren Harris with the super chat says, it's almost dry and Liz 2 are in my top 5. Hope Pusha upsets Kendrick for Grammy rap album, and Coop. Lil Kim's Queen Bitch could give Lost Ones a run for the best female mic performance. You said a lot.
I've said that, and then you referenced that it's a reference, that there has a reference to it, and so that's the only reason I say that. Because I brought up Queen Bitch before as I'm like, well, what about Kim on QB? And you was the one that's like, no, that's a Biggie reference track. I was like, show me that, Michael.
It's on YouTube, yeah.
And you were like, here, nigga. I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's a Biggie reference track out there for that.
Yeah.
What I will say about It's Almost Dry at the Grammys, I think it's going to win the best rap album. I think they're going to give Kendrick other Grammys. He's nominated for 8, but I think as far as best rap album, I think they're going to give that to Push. Because what I'm seeing a pattern here. He's been saying album of the year, album of the year, album of the year. Well, Rolling Stone just gave it number 1. And I think that it's one of those King of the South things. You know what I mean? Like, just going to keep saying it, and then, it's going to happen. But it's not the best album this year. It's in the top 10, though.
It's just not. I was going to say, is that Sims album better than this Absol? Because I think so.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. I mean, I like the Lil Sims album.
I
think I need to listen to those, beside each other. But
we should listen to those this weekend and come back with some discourse.
Yeah, on Wednesday. Man with the super chat says, did y'all hear the new terminology in Paul Wall? CL Smooth song. Fire. Rolling Stone has never been about real hip hop. Nas did Still Shine and 30 years in. I need to listen to that terminology, Paul Wall and CL Smooth. I got to check that out. Y'all know how I feel about CL.
Like, not the one that they did earlier this year.
Sounds like it might be a new one because I don't think CL Smooth's on the other album. CL Smooth might be the most underrated rapper ever. It's between him and MJG for me. Shout out to MJG.
MJ.
Pim Tank. Yo, he killed it at that versus.
He did. Took over.
Did you want? All right, I have these categories written down. Do you want to go to this Alchemist thing, or do you want to have this categories conversation?
I want to talk about the Alchemist right quick because I don't think
this.
it's going to take us too long to cover it. But we always
Alchemist
say that
dropped Alchemist Sandwich.
Anyway.
Alchemist dropped Alchemist Sandwich. What were your thoughts?
When I got done listening to it, I laughed and I said to myself, never before, I think, has there been a year or it's been a long time that I can think of where there are so many compilation albums that are worthy. Because I'm going to be honest with you.
I had that as a category too.
If we were just sectioning it off and like including compilation albums in our top 20 list, then I think there are like 5 or 6 albums that actually should be. And this would be one of them. It's going to be a tough decision to see who has like the best compilation this year. Because we got the Alchemist. We got the Metro Boomin. What's the one from earlier this year?
Well, I thought you were going to talk about the
Dreamville,
the Griselda one, yeah, Dreamville,
the BSF,
yeah,
the Long Live DJ, the Long Live DJ Shay.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, the DJ Shay, the Dreamville, the Alchemist, the Metro. Like there's all sorts of like collaborative stuff going out here this year that's been great. This is another one of those efforts. What's your favorite song on here? You usually ask me first.
Man, off top, I'm going with Judas, man. That kind of set that shit off, man.
I mean, okay, so Conway's verse, I was like,
yeah. I'm listening to it like, whoa, man, these guys coming with it like this on a compilation album? Like, yeah. You know, I always like Westside and Conway together anyway. They're such an odd pairing in many ways to me.
They're brothers.
Yeah, just based on their approach. But you hear the chemistry, man. It's very, rest in peace. It's very Quavo Takeoff-ish. Very different styles per se, but they just mesh, man.
Definitely Stockton and Malone with it.
Yeah.
Definitely Stockton and Malone with it.
Yeah.
Straight like that. Stockton and Malone. That's what I hear. Because Westside's always setting him up, and he just takes the ball and delivers in the paint. And this record is one of those records. When I heard it, it made my face scrunch up like the way Prodigy used to make my face scrunch up. That's why I love Conway. I think this might be his best verse this year and a verse of the year contender.
I'm with that. That song really stood out to me.
But I will tell you that, actually, I think I am with you. I think Judas might be my favorite record on here, too. I was actually thinking the Mac 10 Wounds with him just by himself. The Conway record.
Another pairing that I liked that I didn't know that I wanted to hear, but even when I saw it on the track list before I pressed play, I was like, this is interesting. Styles P and Benny.
It sounded good.
It did.
I was thinking about picking that song. That's why I was like, Massacre is dope, but Judas, you're right. Westside and Conway got that chemistry, and Conway just smashed it up.
I mean, Rock Marciano and Black Thought together. That's a dream collabo right there.
No, that shit was dope. The Roman Candles.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. So I think you named my favorite joints, which is Judas, Massacre, and Roman Candles. Like Rock Marciano and Black Thought.
Shit crazy. And Rock Marciano rapped like Black Thought was on the record too.
Right. No. I was like, oh, A1, huh? A1.
I think Black Thought might be. I think Black Thought might be the most intimidating MC ever. Go ahead, yeah.
What did you say?
I think Black Thought might be the most intimidating MC ever. Like people know if he's on a song, I really gotta rap. I know people like to, and I'm not trying to, rehash anything. People like to think those type of notions when it comes to Eminem or something. It's not. It's really like that when Black Thought's on the record, and no one says anything about it. But when Black Thought's on the record, you have to bring your A game. You have to.
How about this? The way Benny rapping on Crowns for Kings, I don't know if he rapped like that since, because you want to know why? You knew it was coming out. You knew it was coming.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
You're not going to come with an average verse with Black Thoughts in the room.
You understand what's about to happen, right?
Yeah.
You hear him on No Fear of Time, right?
Yeah.
Like you see they tried, right?
Now that's what I will say about the conscious community or backpack community. They've been used to sparring with him over the decades.
Oh yeah,
And so it's been an everyday
most
thing
Talib
for
don't
them.
have a problem. But
Yeah.
understand, there was a time where like that Mos and Thought thing
Yeah.
was like comparable. Oh no, you hear it now. It's like no.
As a Most Def fan, it hurts me to say, but you're right.
You know it's true.
It's
You
true.
know it's true.
And
Like you
Most
know
is one of
what
the most
like
talented MCs I've ever heard.
like the second best verse on the No Fear of Time ain't Most verse on Yonders to me. It might be Thought's verse. Talib got the best verse. And then it's between Yonders and Thought's verse. Like Thought can just come on an album with Most and Talib is rapping and just he's Thought.
Yeah.
Better
Well,
rap
what were you
your
gonna
ass
say
off.
before I got on that tirade? And I want to say more about Thought. I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
My train of thought was about Thought as well, as in I want to hear more beats like this on his next project.
Well, there you go.
Was that your thought?
Well, I wasn't gonna say that. I was just gonna.
I'm gonna say it.
I was just going to double down on the fact that when him and Method Man, one of the greatest lyricists and MCs of all time, was on Sway, and they both were rhyming, you could see visibly people understand this guy's somewhere else, and you have to. Method Man didn't even want to rap. He said that. He was like, man, I don't know if I got anything, whatever. He pulled out his phone and had something because he's Method Man. He's in a room with Black Thought. You got to perform for the people. But you understand, and I think he gave Black Thought his props right there in the moment. I got to give it to the conscious community. They've had to spar with this guy for decades. And I think Black Thought's just now being opened up to those MCs that we've always, put at at the high echelon, nice end on the mainstream level. They're finally having to rap with this guy, and when he's on the track, everybody's bringing their A+ game. He don't even have to bring his A game. His B game is everybody else's A game.
I'm gonna say he just has to bring his game.
He just has to be Black Thought, and he is Black Thought in every given moment. Like, as consistent as Jadakiss or somebody like that is, and as stellar as Jadakiss has been over a span of time, Black Thought is that on a bumped up lyrical level.
And he's been doing it longer.
Yeah. And he has
Black
the songs that Jada doesn't have. I mean,
he's got arguably the dopest rap name ever too. His name's Black Thought.
Ernest Thompson with the super chat says, what is it? How do y'all feel about ASAP and Aesop and Lupe's track? Very, very lyrical. And we were supposed to talk about that last week. I think it's very, very lyrical. I don't know how palatable it is, but from a textbook standpoint, and I think we did slightly talk about it a little bit last week. I think he made it for his class. Like, he's a college professor teaching rap theory at MIT, and I think this is the perfect type of song to come out with while you're teaching a course on that. I'm sure that they could go, weeks on end with all the bar work that was done on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be used for his classroom setting, I think.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Coop, Mike, do the kids a favor and tell them how good Houdini and Run DMC was in the 80s. Songs like Hard Times, One Love, plus which group is your choice? I've had this conversation before, really. I'm going to say this. I'm just going to give my opinion. I think both of those groups have made songs that stood the test of time on a level that not many groups have done. I've said on the show before, Run DMC were to do a versus, motherfuckers would be in trouble. They have mega hits, mega classics. But to me personally, I find myself gravitating more to Houdini's hits. Freaks Come Out at Night is better than every Run DMC song to me personally. And that's not a slight, it's just that great of a song. One Love, incredible record. I mean, just how many times has that record been redone and flipped and repackaged? Friends, another one. Those are big, massive records, man. I like Houdini's music more. I think that Run DMC did it for a longer span of time and probably, had more of the total package as a collective. And I love both groups' music, but I personally slightly would give the edge to Houdini.
I'm gonna roll with Run DMC, but I get all of your sentiments about Houdini though, and that's dope that you're actually like taking the time to give them some flowers. Those are some hip hop pioneers that definitely deserve everybody's love and respect and adulation.
I
So
think we give a lot of credit to Run DMC as we should for actually, putting hip hop on the map and, making it radio friendly. But I mean, my parents are from, the 60s, 70s, R&B, funk, and all that era. They were playing Houdini's music. Houdini's music wasn't like, what's this rap stuff the kids are listening to? That stuff was on the radio heavy. So I
mm-hmm.
think that both of those groups have a lot to do with hip hop getting on the radio and getting to where it is today. But I think Run DMC gets a lot more of that credit. I mean, they had the machine, Russell Simmons, all that behind it. But Houdini should definitely get their props for the records that they made, because you play any of those Houdini records that I just mentioned, people know them without even consciously knowing that you know them. It's not a person out there that ain't heard One Love or Friends or The
Right.
Freaks Come Out at Night. Like, it's a
Freaks
big
Come Out at
record.
Night might be the biggest one, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, guys, those songs are 3.5 years old. Can't get credit for that. Well, I think that is an interesting thing to say. So, are we going to count this as a 2022 album if these songs are old songs? And I think it's very impressive that these old songs sound this fresh, too.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that the homie Wop always told me. Wop used to be Black Rob's manager. Rest in peace, Rob, and Mark Curry's manager. And Wop owns some Jukebox bars here in Atlanta and now in Puerto Rico. That's Denim's older brother. Our senior writer, Denim, that's her older brother. That's how I know Denim is first through Wop and then her other brother, Keith. But Wop used to always tell me when I was in the he'd be like, Coop, don't nobody know that the shit is old but you. It's new when you release it.
Yeah.
Period. Period. Point blank. That's from a former bad boy nigga. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna roll with that kind of train of thought and treat it that way. Like, think about the Prince records and the Mike record. Like, no. It's new when it dropped.
Well, it's funny you say that about Prince, because I Can Never Take the Place of Your Man. I was listening to the
1978 version.
Yeah, the 1978 version. I mean, it's incredible that he bumped it up on the 87 version. It's on Sign of the Times. But how brilliant do you have to be to hold on to such a brilliant record for damn near 10 years? And when he put it out in 87, nobody had heard the 78 version. It's a new song.
So it's a new album.
I mean, the song has a date on it when you put it out, not when you, I guess, made it. Now, what was this stuff put out on? Was it put out at all, or you just know that it was 3-4 years old? And that's the question for the audience, but because I wouldn't have been able to tell. I just know that they put this out today. Andrew Green with the super chat says, next Patreon, Get Rich or Die Trying versus the Black Album, or perhaps Godson versus the Black Album. Also, don't forget KD3 versus Damn. We're doing KD3 versus Damn. Did we talk about that?
First of all, gonna get that Get Rich or Die Trying and Black album out the way.
That's what I want to do. I want to do the Get Rich or Die Trying.
I want to do it
Black
too, because you tried 50 with the Black album.
I'm interested to see how close it'll be. I'm telling you, man, patiently waiting is not better than What More Can I Say?
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
If it is, it's the only song you winning in the first 5.
I'm patiently waiting for Shannon.
Okay.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, it's been released, though. Okay. So, I mean, I guess if the stuff was released and it was released, then maybe it's disqualified. First time I heard it. Mad Max with the super chat says,
we'll do some checking up on that and see where it's been released and by whom.
Yeah. Mad Max with the super chat says, ain't Illmatic come in 94 but had songs on it from 91? So we're going to say that about that Illmatic was not album of the year for 94? We not doing that for Alchemist.
Right.
Yeah, Halftime was on
Zebra Head, which is 91. 92. Like end of 91, beginning of 92, yeah.
I am not a hater. Somebody said I was a hater because of the patiently waiting thing.
Oh yeah, definitely hate.
Ain't nobody playing that shit. I'm sorry, man. Like, I mean, I think that was more of a moment than a dope song.
Okay.
I mean, you know, what more can I say? It's just the better record. And I don't really like In the Club like that. No, the rest of the album, awesome. You know, my favorite song on Get Rich or Die Trying is Heat.
Okay.
That shit hard. See, that's the 50 I like, though. I don't really... And it's such a weird thing. He commercially did so much and sold so many records because of his commercial stuff. But I like the street shit from 50. It's his best material to me.
I think Get Rich or Die Trying is that beautiful medium because it's like if I can't do it, that's the 50.
Yeah, that's him mixing those worlds.
Right. That's the guy when he does that. Oh yeah, that shit fire.
And see, What Up Gangsta is a street record, but it has a mainstream appeal to it somehow. It's not so street that the mainstream wouldn't listen to it. You know what I mean?
It's a great party starter.
It is.
It's a great party starter.
Now, I ain't got nothing for that record. Now, that's just real.
You're going to get blasted, man. You're getting blasted early. Many Men in the Club, What Up Gangsta.
What is Many Men going to go up against? Hold on.
You're getting down early to this album, and I'm not going to let you get back.
I want to see this. What does Many Men end up going against on the Black Album?
Encore.
Really? Oh, yeah. I have no chance. Hold on.
Or Change Clothes, How You Want to Lose.
Hold on. Let me pull this track list up. It's been a minute since I listened to Get Rich or Die Trying. So Many Men is number... It's been a minute since I listened to
the Black Album.
Many Men's number 4. I think you're right. Yeah, I'm in trouble on that one.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Them first 5 songs, you in trouble.
I forgot that Many Men came that early in the album.
Yeah, it goes Many Men in the Club.
Oh, yeah. Number 4, it's Encore. You're right.
Right. Yeah. And I got What Up Gangsta starting off that. You in all kinds of trouble, Mike. I told you it's going to be 3-1, 4-1 starting off, and then you're going to have to dig out of this hole, except for you're not going to be able to dig out of it because the Young Buck record, the Back Down record, 21 Questions, Mike, you're not going to
What does Moment of Clarity have to go against? I'm worried about that one. That's number 8.
Oh, it's losing.
Moment of Clarity goes up against If I Can't. Nah.
You in trouble.
I'm gonna let the champagne powders vibe.
What's Threat go up against? Threat's number 7. What's Threat go up against?
Threat's going up against Heat.
Mike, you about to lose. You about to lose bad. You about to lose bad. How much do you think this?
Threat's going up against Heat. No.
I'm just. You want to know what?
I don't know if I want to do this.
Back out right now, Mike.
I don't know if I want to do this, actually. Right. I usually don't back down.
When you told me that you thought the Black Album was better than Get Rich or Die Trying, I was like, oh, man, I'm about to steamroll your ass, Mike. I'm sorry. Like, you're going to literally lose? Like, you're going to lose a lot, Mike.
And the Black Album only got 14 songs. That already puts me at a disadvantage.
You're going to lose a lot.
This nigga got... How many tracks on here?
Like 19.
19? Well, he got some interludes.
Usually with Wanksta, because Wanksta's like 17. But, Mike, them first 14 records don't Get Rich or Die Trying. Mike, you're in trouble.
I mean, shit, the end is even crazy, man. Gotta Make It to Heaven.
No.
Wanksta, You're Not Like Me. Even when they put those on there, Your Life Is on the Line. No.
Hold on. Does that make it not count? Because those songs came out off the mixtape in previous years.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, they're not on the album, right?
Right.
Because those came out in like 2000. Yo. Right. All right. I'm gonna be real. The only songs I really don't like on Get Rich or Die Trying like that. I don't really like Patiently Waiting like that. I told you I don't really like In the Club like that, but that record's undeniable. It is what it is. All the time is some Heat. If I Can't. Bloodhound, I wasn't huge on that. But I really don't like PIMP like that.
Hold on. But look, Mike, Bloodhound's going up against 99 Problems.
Well, 99 Problems got that.
Right. That's what I mean. But that's going to be like your second win. We're going to be on track 9.
I like My Style with Tony Yayo.
That's what I'm saying. You're in trouble.
Poor Little Rich. I really wasn't big.
No. I like Poor Little Rich. That's how I was a po nigga. Now I'm a rich nigga. Yeah, that's Poor Little Rich. Right. in the 4.6.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Bloodhound. Yeah. That song was cool. It was cool. It wasn't like a heavy hitter.
You're in a
But
lot of trouble.
everything
You're in
else,
a
man.
lot of trouble.
21 questions. Don't push me. Gotta make it to heaven. Wankster, you're not like me. Your life is on the line. Jeez.
No, your life is on the line, Mike. You need to back out.
I think I might need to back out of this one. I hate to do that though.
Out.
This is
step down.
Do I need the blueprint? Do I need the blueprint?
I told you. I said when you said the Black Album, I said, "Oh, not the blueprint, but the Black Album."
Let's do the blueprint.
Yeah, it's got to be fun.
I'd rather do the blueprint.
I mean, okay. So, and here's what I'm about to tell you too, and I'm not saying this to be funny. You about to lose, still. You're just not gonna lose as bad.
Because the blueprint, I got 15 tracks.
You like I said, you're not gonna lose as bad, but you're gonna lose. Girls is going up against Many Men. The Takeover's going up against What Up Gangsta, I think. Or the Ruler's Back. Either way, you're losing. You're losing.
Yeah. What Up Gangsta is going up against the Ruler's Back, but the Takeover has Patiently Waiting. I think this is a much better situation. Yeah. But how are we going to deal with this? You know what? 15 tracks. We'll just deal with it in the fact that you leave off the ones that weren't, quote unquote, made in the Get Rich or Die Trying era.
Wow, I mean, you in trouble.
So
I don't think people understand. Like, okay, so comps for Get Rich or Die Trying, or like It's Dark and Hell is Hot, Moment of Truth, Supreme Clientele. Like
you're gonna have to leave off Wankster, You're Not Like Me, and Life is on the Line. You cool with that?
It doesn't matter, Mike.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tall order for even the
WWE
blueprint.
Wrestling when I pull out Get Rich or Die Trying. Can you smell what I'm cooking? Like, you are not about to win.
And the blueprint, for a lot of people, is Jay-Z's best album. And my personal opinion is number 2. I got Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, and the Black Album.
I'm gonna show you why it's number 2, because Reasonable Doubt would probably beat Get Rich or Die Trying barely, but the Blueprint's not. Because Get Rich or Die Trying, like in the all-time classic scale to me, is somewhere between the two.
You think
like
Reasonable Doubt would
Reasonable Doubt, but better than the Blueprint.
When we did Reasonable Doubt in the Infamous matchup, it just reminded me of how stellar that Reasonable Doubt is, and not just in just alone, but in Jay's catalog as well. Like a lot of the things that we consistently get on the on the Jay album, as far as like some of the missteps, we didn't really get on Reasonable Doubt. The missteps on Reasonable Doubt was stuff like Coming of Age. You know what I mean?
That is the misstep.
Yeah, and it's a good song.
It is a good song.
It's not a jigga that nigga jigga type of misstep.
It's not that.
It's not. Melvin Wright.
It's not Hola Ho Vito. No, it is not.
And you know what? Hola Ho Vito is a good song. It just shouldn't be on that album.
Hey, you're going to find out how good it's not when it plays.
What does that go up against? What does that go up against?
Wait till you look.
I'm about to look. I'm not going to say anything because I want people to watch the broadcast, but it's... Ooh. All right. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Alchemist EP Lunch Meat from 2018 and other projects. Okay, so that's what it was on. All right, well, I guess it's disqualified then. But hey, I liked them. Andrew Green with the super chat says, y'all said Damn was the last great solo rap effort. Do we got to put Damn up against something? Do y'all... Are we jumping? Are we jumping the Jigga thing? Maybe we should put a Kendrick album up against Get Rich or Die Trying.
Okay, so he's right. Dean Martin Stakes, Judas, The Hopeless Romantic, and Massacre are all 2018 from Alchemist.
Andrew Green says the Godsons versus the Black Album, 14 tracks each. I don't know if Godson wants it with the Black Album.
No, I don't want to do that to Godson, because that's... How about this? Listen to what you're saying when you're saying that.
Yep, I know.
This is what I'm talking about. This is Nas's 9th best album, and you want to put it up against Jay's 3rd best album.
Yeah. Now, if we're going to do that, it's going to have to be Stillmatic and Black Album. Have we done that? Or have we just talked about that?
We did Stillmatic and Blueprint already. So actually, Mike, I don't think you should use the Blueprint again, because we've already used the Blueprint once for the Blueprint Stillmatic thing.
Did we use the Blueprint?
Oh, no, we didn't do that. We did Stillmatic Lost Tapes.
Yeah. That's what we did.
Put the Blueprint up against Stillmatic. It's going to lose that too, though.
The Blueprint up against Stillmatic.
Um,
I don't know, man. Do we want to put the Blueprint up against Get Rich or Die Trying, or do we want to put Good Kid, Mad City up against Get Rich or Die Trying, or do you think that's too much for Get Rich or Die? Too much for Good Kid, Mad City.
No, Good Kid, Mad City, and man, he's swinging and he landing. He's swinging and he landing. He like George. He like George Foreman.
This.
He like young George Foreman on Get Rich or Die Trying. It's like, no, for a minute, for about a year or 2 or 3, couldn't do nothing about it and was gonna knock that ass out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't luck. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
50's a household name for a reason. This is literally the Doggy Style of the 2000s.
Right.
It is what it is. Yeah. Nah, I'm looking
at. As a matter of
at.
fact, to be honest with
I'm
you,
looking at Good Kid, Mad City. I don't think he wants it.
Right. You don't want to do that. And you know what? It actually makes me think. You want to know what I really want to do? You want to know what a real battle is? You really want to know? Because I think they're the same length. Get Rich or Die Trying versus It's Dark and Hell is Hot. That's a fucking matchup. That's a comp.
I like
That's
that.
the real battle.
Both of those guys took the streets back.
And you want to know what?
Yeah.
And here's what I think about that too. Talking about both of these albums lately, because we've been talking about It's Dark and Hell is Hot too, makes me realize that these albums are probably closer to being top 15 albums than they are even to being top 20, 25 albums. Like when I'm talking about Get Rich or Die Trying right now, I'm really thinking to myself, it's like, no, like you need to have made like one of the best rap albums like ever to beat that. Like ever.
No,
Ever.
I'll say this, man. I think that the Blueprint would probably struggle with Get Rich or Die Trying in ways that
It's
It's Dark and Hell is Hot probably wouldn't.
Because It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Get Rich or Die Trying are better than the Blueprint though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, is Leroy not allowed in the Patreon voting pool? Since he tips the scale towards Jay. I mean,
no, I think
Leroy's objective. Yeah.
Leroy's fair. He is. He's a Jay fan, but he's an honest man and thinker. I think he's proven himself to be viably trusted with the vote.
Lex Diesel with the super chat says, Nas should body as many features as possible now. I don't think Nas needs a feature run, but when we were just talking about Kendrick, I think he's the one that needs a feature run right now. He needs a feature run in an album.
He's never did features like that though, so it's like I don't know if that's going to work. No, I'm not, and I'm not trying to discount the Blueprint, but that's what I'm saying is it's like it's making me realize it's like no, the Blueprint is more like a top 30 to 50 rap album. Get Rich or Die Trying is Dark and Hell is Hot. No, that's top 20. It's top 20.
And Gerald Green with the super chat says, y'all said Damn was the best solo effort with no features since KD3. And that y'all would do on Patreon.
Okay.
We can do that.
Feel sorry for Kendrick. About to take another L.
I think Damn is his I don't want to say most complete effort, but it feels like if there's an album that tells you everything you need to know about that individual artist and where he carried the load on his own and wasn't really influenced by anything outside of that, I think Damn is that one.
Here's why it's so interesting. And I like the Damn KD3 matchup. You got to put stuff like Mike and Quincy right next to stuff like Element.
Yeah.
Like Mike and Quincy and Element are 4 and 4 on the album. Right.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
I like it. How many songs is on Damn collectively? Like what number is Duckworth?
I feel like 13, and I think that might be the problem.
Yeah, and I like what you said about
where the song length actually like matches up more fairly. That's why I thought of It's Dark and Hell is Hot. How about this?
Yeah.
Get Rich or Die Trying, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and Moment of Truth are the 3 best long classics I've ever heard. Where it's like, no, those albums are long, but they're great. As in, like, there really is a legit like 18, 19 songs, but it's like legitimately like that the whole way through still.
Akumanai's pretty long too. Like 74 minutes.
See, but if you take the intro and the skits out, though, it's only like 13, 14 records.
Well, you're talking about the amount of records. But see, what they did was they made songs like 7, 8 minutes long with like Liberation and
Right.
Spodioti, and they got it added to the length of the album. I
But
see
there's
what you
only like, but first of all, Aquemini is still, I believe, under 75 minutes. I believe
74,
it's
but you're right.
74-19, something like that, right?
Right. That's a lot of
So
music though.
no, it's not. That's an hour 14 minutes, Mike. That's what I'm saying. But if you actually cut the skits and all that, and where they're not rapping, it's actually only about an hour of rapping. That's what I mean. It's like, no, when you rapping, you got about an hour.
It's a lot
Aquemini's
of
about an hour of
instrumentation
rapping.
too. A lot of instrumentation is taking
That's what I
up those
mean.
minutes too.
Think about like the last 2 minutes of Chunky Fire, Spody Odie Dopalicious. Like if you just take the last 2 minutes of Chunky Fire and Spody Dopalicious, well, now you have a 1 hour rap album.
And you got pretty much like, I mean, however long Liberation is, but Dre and
Right.
Big Boy kind of do their thing, but a bulk of that is Big Rube, Erica Badu,
Erykah
and then
Badu,
the
right.
instrumentation and the breakdown, which is
Right.
beautiful. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's such a team effort, and that's why I think that it's unfair to just be throwing all that weight on Andre as one person. Like Aquemini, you can hear it. That is a team effort from top to bottom. The musicians that were in there, the vocalists that were in there. You know what I mean? Like the features, it all meshes. They all did a great job on that effort.
You know, it's kind of funny when you say it like that. I know we've always called Mr. Don't Play by Project Pat the South's Purple Tape. But when you say it like that, it makes me think that the South's Purple Tape is Aquemini because it's actually more a comparable effort. You know what I
Two
mean?
guys
in terms of the
who
quality
got
of music.
yeah.
Because when you say it like that, I think to myself, it's like, well, damn, Big Rube's on there, Badu is on there, the entire Goody Mob is on there, Raekwon is on there, George Clinton is on there, right?
With EJ the Witch Doctor's on there, Backbone's on there, Cool Breeze is on there, and these guys gave some of their best. Yeah, these guys.
Yeah, so it's like if you look at it, that's actually about the number of members that's in the Wu-Tang Clan, and the Wu-Tang Clan's on the Purple Tape, and so there's a lot of hands on the Aquemini too. And much like what Ray did on the Purple Tape, like Ray and Ghost, it still feels like Ray and Ghost album, even though it's very collaborative. Just like this still feels like Outkast album, and even though it's collaborative.
And they got the best out of everybody on that album. Like Timo's verse on Y'all Scared, like starting off the song like piece by piece, this puzzle comes together. Sever your ties with the bad guys. Let the lies go. If you want to be a hoe, go ahead and don't be scared. Like this is Timo starting out the song like that. They got the best out of everybody.
No, that's what I mean. It's very Purple Tape, like when you think about it in terms of the quality, but also think about it. Everybody bought their A game.
Yeah, Backbone on Slump.
Right.
Cool Breeze on Slump.
No,
Witch
Mike,
Doctor on Mamacita.
Aquemini might be the Southern Purple Tape, Mike, because you're right. We got Witch Doctor. Hold on, let's count out the MCs first. Witch Doctor, Cool Breeze, Cujo, Timo, Gip, CeeLo on there not rapping, Erica Badu on there not rapping, Rube on there with the poem. So we 8 deep right now.
I don't think you mentioned Backbone or Raekwon.
Backbone?
Yeah.
And who?
And Raekwon.
And Ray, so that's 10. And then if you add Andre and Big Boy, that's 12 hands in the pot on Aquemini. Very Purple Tape like.
Yeah, incredible album. MC with the super chat. I love the name. What makes a better lyricist? We know elite MCs from a technical standpoint. However, it doesn't resonate that it makes you... If it doesn't resonate, does that make you really that dope? I mean, we have this conversation all the time. I think Scarface is, Scarface and Cube and Tupac and Chuck D, if you want to throw him in there, I think they are the people that you kind of got to gravitate to with that. They'll do things from a simplistic standpoint that would trump anything technical anybody else can put out there. Now, granted, you kind of want both things, but I think for me, and I guess it's different for different people, I think you got to put more weight on the things that are non-technical and the feeling and the connection other than the technical thing.
I think we're going to use these both of these words, and we brought up these thought process matters. Like there are guys that are more lyrically inclined technically than Nas and Black Thought. Their train of thought, their thought process, the way like listening to Black Thought rap is like like having like, it's like he's the cool professor who knows how to kick the shit that you need to hear, but make it understandable and fly to you, but you still understand you're talking to a professor. Nas conceptually is just somewhere else nobody's ever been as an MC. Like the story catalog alone is the evidence of it. The stories aren't lyrical like that, like in terms of being all super lyrical outside of I Gave You Power. It's the conceptualization, it's the train of thought. So concepts matter in that lyricism conversation, approach, train of thought, like all those things matter. Like thought and Nas like think different too. You feel me? Like the train of thought is different. It's not regular. Andre's that way. Lauren's that way.
Most is that way. Yeah,
Tupac, Mos, Ice Cube. It's the perspective is different and insightful too. It does something to you when you see it from their view. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That.
It connects.
I think Nas just has it the most because of the stories, but Thought has that fundamentally as like an orator, you know?
And I like how you correlated to being a professor. It's almost like having a super smart professor out there that puts everybody to sleep. But you have that other professor that's able to connect, and it's like, who is the student going to say is the better professor?
Right.
It's the one that is able to connect.
How about, you're right. So, rate my professor. Well, a lot of that time, it's not about how good the professor is. It's about his ability or her ability to connect with the students. And that's what the rating's based on. This is very much the same thing. That's why I told you, I can remember listening to Kendrick and hearing She Needs Me. And it was like, oh no, damn all the lyrical stuff. You got me. You connected to me. You connected something for me. You connected a dot. Literally.
Yeah. Man, Max with the super chat says, a feature run helps an artist. That's why Drake and Cole do them. I remember when Nas did a Nas album Done, and that's when he had the most buzz. Because then he did that Kanye album, and it sold, but didn't connect. Yeah, I mean, feature runs do help when you got something coming, but what happens when you have pretty much finished the job, right? Do you need to do a feature run then? Mad Max with the super chat says, could have sworn y'all said 2014 was the album with no features and was the closest to KD 3.
Forest Hills?
I feel like we did say Forest Hills.
I remember saying Forest Hills. That's why when the damn thing came up, I was like, I remember I said something about Rihanna being, no, we did
well,
say
he just said that. He said, ain't Damn have a feature on it with Rihanna on there? And I was like, Rihanna didn't rap, so.
I actually remember, Mike, we had that conversation. I said, no, she spit a couple bars on
there.
there.
You said she was kind of rapping on there. Yeah.
A little rapidy.
Darren Harris with the super chat says, want to see Hell on Earth versus ATLiens down the line. That's a good one because they're both very similar.
And it's 1996. That's their dark album for both of them.
I would like to see that.
I'm with that. We need to put that in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put that in the notes. Hell on Earth and ATLiens. I think that's a good one.
That's exciting. I'm going to write some of these down.
MC says, can Jeezy be a better lyricist than Talib Kweli in some circles, even though he isn't as technical? I'm just going to be real. Y'all know I'm not big on Jeezy like that. But I think that people feel Jeezy's material more than they do. I don't want to say people. I think that there's a large faction of people who feel Jeezy's music more than they do Talib's. And I think that's a connection thing. It's probably a background thing per se, maybe. But Jeezy is exciting. And he gets people excited. And he's right there with the production. And he says things that stand out. Now, how many people can quote Talib over Jeezy? You would have to be like a real head to do that. I probably could quote more Talib stuff than Jeezy, but the average listener is probably going to be able to quote more Jeezy.
Hey.
Mad Max of the super chat says, all a lyricist is someone who paints a picture using words, literary devices, metaphors, similes, aka punchlines, and having conceptual schemes in poem format. That's a lyricist. Yeah, and it's back to that whole notion of people saying Tupac's not a lyricist. He's clearly a lyricist. He's a poet by nature. Go ahead.
ET Aliens Hell on Earth matchup is perfect. It's 14 and 14.
I figured it did. Well, I did it in my
I
head. I was
remember the
thinking like
Outcast
that.
having 15 in the back of my mind. I'm like, hold on, ain't there a remix at the end though? And it is. It's the Elevators remix. That's song 15. Like I said, my most great rap albums under 15 is usually the song cap. 15 is usually the song cap on your rap classic. It is. There are very few exceptions. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Get Rich or Die Trying. Moment of Truth. End of story. All your other all-time great albums have less than 15 songs or less, including Ready to Die.
What
Ready
about
to
Life
Die
After
says
Death?
17. Huh?
Life After Death's different though.
That's not fair. You
Yeah,
get what I'm saying? And even then, Mike, I mean, think about it. It's like, well, if you were just separating them by disc, how many songs is it by disc?
Yeah.
11 and 11.
Yeah.
Right? Or 12 and 12? Something like that? 12 and 12?
I got some categories I want to go through with you before we get out of here.
That's cool.
We already talked about verse of the year. But off the top right now, what would you say is just your flat out verse of the year? No nominees, just straight up verse of the year. Is it Johnny P's?
Nah, it's Thought on Aquamarine. If I'm picking one verse right now, I think what you're gonna find is that this is what I mean. Cream rises to the top, and so it's like, Nas probably has the most verse contenders, like he did last year. But unlike last year, I think Lauren's like this. Is what I mean, like, well, you got to be special when Nas is on his shit to fade him. It's like Lauren couldn't do it. I think Thought may have slightly. But also, too, that's what I mean. I think the mission was kind of different for KD3 to give us that complete album body work like that. And so, like, Magic was your lyrical mic display. You know what I'm saying? That was the Nas, the supreme lyricist, and you got that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, damn near everything on Magic would win verse of the year right now. You feel me?
I got these categories from our 2018, I guess, wrap up or whatnot. And this was just on according to hiphop.com. Another category I had from back then was Comeback Artist of the Year. I guess we would say Comeback Artist of Group. I'm going Black Star with that, obviously.
Give me 2 seconds, Mike. Hold on 1 second. But I'll probably be with you on the Black Star. 2 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys got Johnny P's Caddy over Aquamarine. I mean, bar for bar, could we really say? I mean, I guess if you look from an impact standpoint, more people would probably gravitate to, Johnny P's Caddy because it was out there like that. It was a single. It was a big song for the most part. And, Cole was stellar. And it always stands out a little bit more when you're a featured artist and you're collaborating with somebody else. But if we're talking about bar for bar, I might have to agree with Coop on this one. I might have to go Aquamarine verse is a better verse than the Johnny P's Caddy verse. But I do understand how Johnny P's Caddy would stand out with Cole pairing up with Benny the Butcher, another great MC. And
see, this is what I mean about the lyricist too. Is that like, well, on Johnny P's Caddy, you can tell that Cole's intentions are lyrical. On Aquamarine, you can tell that Thought's intentions are lyrical. Nas's mission on KD3 is more of a black empowerment complete album message. And so it's not going to be as lyrical. Like some of what's lyrical about it is the message. You know what I'm saying? Like the WTF SMH, the second verse. Oh, well, that's not super lyrical. But if you're like listening to it, it's very Tupac white in the connectivity of it.
Right. Mo Better with the super chat says, I have to be honest. Cheat Codes has been drawing back to that more. I've been drawing back to that more than KD3 and KD. It's dope, but it's just something about the music on Cheat Codes, man. Okay, Cheat Codes is great, and we have Cheat Codes at top 3. I mean, we can go back and listen to that, since it's the end of the year too, and just kind of pair things up. But I hate to say it, man. I know they say it's a Nas channel and this and that. But KD3 is tough to beat, just the versatility and the range. Like I said, I think it's the most complete hip-hop album I've heard in a long minute.
Somebody called me out, and they're right about this, too. Only Built for Cuban Link has more than 15 tracks, and they're right.
Oh, okay.
But what is it? It's what, 16?
Something like that.
Like, you take the intro away, I believe it's 17 tracks.
Yeah, because you're taking out skits and stuff, you know what I mean?
Oh, actually, no, it's not. Hold on. No,
Yeah.
it's not. Hold on. It might be 15. I think it's 15. Hold
Um, Comeback artist of the year, like I said, I got Black Star.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm saying like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Slept on album of the year. I'm going
Hmm.
Rome Streets, man.
It's hard for us, with all the love we've given Griselda and how much we talk about blow for blow, to call that slept on necessarily. Do
I
you
think
feel
that
that way, honestly?
even the props that we're giving blow for blow, it's kind of about the guys that are on there too.
Damn right.
I could say Liz too is possibly in that
I
category.
was thinking about Liz too, actually. If I was going to pick something from the camp, because I think she.
What do y'all think is the most slept on hip hop album of 2022?
Right, like Earl Sweatshirt dropped Sick earlier this year. Some people enjoyed that. Let me pull up my list right quick. I'm doing like two different
Bodie
things.
James is slept on. Okay, producer of the year, I got him.
Currency and Alchemist, Continuance, maybe?
Continuance.
Currency and Alchemist, Continuance.
You know what? Continuance, because I think that it got buried in such a heavy year. It started off the year so strong and then kind of got buried.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's the one that I see that I would pick.
Okay, so we got Liz 2, Currency, Continuance, and we got Rome Streets. I love that Rome Streets album. Producer of the year, I got Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Do you think Food for Thought could be in the slept on category?
I guess you could say that. You could say that.
From just the overall, hip hop stratosphere, obviously we're not underrating it, but just from the game all around. 36 Chambers says Your Old Drools is slept on of the year.
I think the Currency and the Alchemist is slightly better than the Your Old Droog album.
And then we got Song of the Year. I think Aquamarine is that too, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the lyricists of the year contenders or the Song of the Year contenders think Mike and Quincy. Like, here's the thing. Okay, so let me ask you something. What's the better production job? Because I think Mike and Quincy is probably the production job of the year. And so, are you sure that the Aquamarine is better than Mike and Quincy? Would be my question for you. Like, are you certain?
As a full song, yes, I am.
Okay.
As a full song, yes, I am. Now, the beats and all that stuff, that could be debated. All right, so this category, and this is 2018, mind you. We had Diss Record of the Year, and Pusha T won that for the, Adidon. Diss Record of the Year is the Black Slim Shady, whatever. Freestyle of the Year.
Is it? I guess. I guess, Mike.
It is. I mean, is there another diss record this year that... I mean, you know what? If this record was so weak, Eminem could have easily won this category, right? Freestyle of the Year, I got Saha on the LA Leakers.
I'm cool with that.
Music Video of the Year. Now, is this...
Skip.
Is this cheating? I think that Metro Boomin video. But see, that was more of like a collaboration of a few songs.
Right.
Yeah, music videos is hard now, man. People don't really watch music videos like that. At least I don't. What do y'all think? Like,
can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Is Peppa's Song of the Year?
I think Aquamarine's the better song, but I don't know.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna have to think about it.
I think we should think about that, because Peppa's, when it comes on, I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Terminator 2 says Eminem Coward of the Year. Y'all are wild. Album of the Year, KD3. MC Collaboration Album. Because I think in that year, it was when Styles P and Dave East made an album together.
Oh, that type of collab.
Because it was two categories. It was MC Producer Collabo, and it was MC Collabo.
Well, the MC producer collabo is Nas and Hit Boy.
Yeah, it is.
So let's see about the MC collab. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I don't
like
really
two
think.
MCs coming together.
Or what are you? Paul Wall and Terminology.
Ah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Crit Wiz and Diz.
Well,
Dizzle,
that's more of a collaboration
that's a
album of the year,
collaboration project too.
and
Matter
I'm
of fact,
thinking
that needs
that
to be in
might
that
be.
collaboration project list too, because that
I
shit
think
was
that
dope.
might be Mount Westmore
What?
collaboration album of the year.
Yeah. No, I'm with that. I enjoy. I'm
Actually,
looking at the list.
that
I'm
goes
looking.
under the MC collaboration category, really.
Right. Doesn't that fall under the
Yeah,
MC collaboration
yeah,
category?
it's Mount Westmore.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think the Mount Westmore is better than the Terminology and Paul Wall? Because I don't want to just discount that because
I
that
do because of
Terminology and
Ice
Paul
Cube.
Wall was dope.
No,
Okay,
Ice Cube's like that. Ice
okay.
Cube's the determining factor in that. I think both the albums are dope and comparable, but that nigga Ice Cube's top 10. So
Rookie of the year, and this is always difficult to do now because it's people
ain't no
kind of
rookies.
yeah. It's like rookies are kind of subjective. Everybody's kind of been around. But I would say the person that really made a splash in this year, I guess maybe had a breakthrough year as a newer artist, I would say that's Lotto.
I think maybe we should change that to call it the come up artist of the year.
Okay. I think
Like the
that's
artist that
Lotto.
came up the most, the come up artist of the year.
Yeah, I
So
think
that would be, I'm cool with Lotto being that.
what about OG album of the year? That was a category. I think Too Short won it that year where like an OG came through. Was that Cool G Rap?
Or KRS-One.
Oh yeah. Huh.
I think the KRS-One might be a little better
I
than the
think
Cool
so
G
too.
Rap.
I think so too.
So KRS-One with I'm an MC. But also, too, kind of not fair to G because we just got G's product in our hand. We done had KRS product all year.
Right.
But we got to make decisions. But shout out to G-Rap. Always. I love some G-Rap.
MC of the year, Nas. 36 Chambers with the super chat says Peppers is great, but not better than Aquamarine. Okay.
Okay. I'm just asking questions. I just want us to be like fair and balanced about it because, yeah.
Okay, so compilation album of the year. So that would be with the Dreamville and those things.
I think that's the toughest category, to be honest with you. Let's look at what we have. Just matter of fact, because I think I want to write this down because I'm going to have to. We got Dreamville, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got the Long Live DJ Shay, right?
Yeah.
We got the Metro, right?
Yeah.
What one was we just talking? There's more.
Well, we were talking about The Alchemist, but they're saying that was old stuff, so.
Yeah, no, 4 tracks on there from 2018 for certain, so that is disqualifying it because it got released. Mm-hmm. So this is a repackage of 4 of those records.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That was Conway in 2018.
Crazy.
Yeah. I told you you've been nice for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What are we missing? The Shay.
I was gonna say Snoop has some compilations going on.
I thought that was last year. He did one this year too, didn't Death Row Summer?
Yeah, Death Row Summer. Yep,
Death Row Summer. Mulholland Drive was my joint. Death Row Summer. What else we got? Because I feel like
we're missing something.
Huh?
I feel like we're missing something.
We are.
Will Westmore go in that category too, or no?
Oh, the Crit Wiz and
Oh yeah, I really like that album. I enjoyed that album. Again,
me too. That album was fun.
It was.
It's like that's the type of album that made me want to hear Slick Rick on it. It's like, man, Slick Rick would be great with these guys.
I loved hearing them together, and it was a combination that I didn't even really expect to hit in that kind of way. 36 Chambers says, could JID be come up artist of the year? Yeah, he's been around for years. Yes, he has. But that Imagine Dragons song hit billions of streams this year, and he got mainstream notoriety with the Forever Story and Stick.
I don't know if it's like Lotto's glow up this year though, because Lotto is working with
Mariah Carey.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got Mariah, Nicki, you know what I'm saying? Megan, like, yeah,
She's a household name at this point. I
she
mean,
is. She's doing her thizzle.
and I mean, JID's had a great year, but again, he's kind of been around for a minute.
Little South Side, East Side Atlanta battling for come up artist of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Mad Max to the super chat says most slept on album is Dub Aurora. This one's on me. LOL. Most slept on artist is my son Kerr, and Glow is Rookie of the Year. Her or Ice Spice. LOL. I like the Ice Spice choice. They're saying Glorilla for Rookie of the Year.
I'm cool with
MC
Glow.
says R&B album of the year. From what everybody's saying, it's SZA. And I still haven't gotten to it yet.
I thought it was Ari before I heard the SZA. My daughter was right. It's SZA. Last year's R&B album of the year was hers.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to her, man. We were watching that Beauty and the Beast 30th anniversary. She did a great job as Belle.
I told you, I'll be watching hers Tiny Desk performance. That's my little late night vibe. I just throwing a little her on the Tiny Desk. That's my little vibe.
She's only 25 and has been around this long and is at this quality, man. I can only imagine what she's gonna be making in 30.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
She's the closest thing that I've seen to Prince.
How so? Guitar playing?
Ability, instrumentation, songwriting ability to make hits consistently, ability to write for others.
And she started out very
kind of
young.
low key but kind of funky, always wearing glasses, kind of shades herself off a little bit like he did early on.
Yeah.
She got some Prince in her, and I mean that in the most glowing and respectable type of way.
She's very impressive.
I don't. How often do you hear me compare people to Prince?
Never.
That's what I think of her. Yeah, she's like that. I mean, she's not there, but she's the only person from this era R&B wise that I would even put in his, spit his name out about.
She makes real R&B. Now, I haven't heard this SZA album yet, but I will say this. When it comes to this era of R&B artists and people that really make me feel what R&B used to make me feel, and it's not like, kind of watered down with the hip-hop thing, and I say that respectfully, it's her and Miguel and some of the stuff that Chris does, but Miguel and her, their R&B stuff is different, man.
It's different. No, I'm with you. I told you, her is in the number one spot as far as R&B is concerned. In my opinion, she makes the best R&B music when she makes it and when she writes it for you and when she performs to it. I want you to understand, she almost already got a greatest hits of duets.
And when everybody was having this king of R&B conversation, I was saying, well, the current king of R&B, in my opinion, this was a couple years ago, it's Miguel. Sorry.
Oh, you want to know if somebody bought up Duke Falco bought up Amber Mark's album? I'm going to tell you something. I like
Amber Marks. I'm glad somebody brought that up.
I've been following Amber Marks since What If and All the Work and like all that stuff. I love All the Work. All the Work is like one of my songs that's in my regular rotation. I did not love the direction that she went for some of this album. I didn't love it.
I haven't heard her new album.
It was pretty good, but I was expecting more because I think she's a talent.
She's got a great voice.
She does.
She sold me on Love Me Right years ago, but yeah.
She sold me, one of my exes put me on the What If, and that made me go back in her catalog. She redid Love Is Stronger Than Pride by Sade, and that got my attention that she had the gumption and the wherewithal as a young lady to take on such a massive record that I think highly of. But the one that got me was All the Work off of her Connexaco EP, I think it was. Yeah.
There's some dope R&B out there, and I'm sure that we could even do a whole show that was catered to the new R&B artists that are out there. Like Lucky Day is dope. But the thing about it is the only R&B that gets urban attention, whether that be radio or whether that be television or clubs or whatever, is the stuff that's infused in hip hop. And the ones that are out there that are making just pure R&B, they kind of have to go out there and have people search for them almost. They really don't have a platform for the new R&B that's not hip-hop centric. You know what I mean?
Cleo Soul, When I'm in Your Arms,
That's why when Puff was out there talking about, who killed R&B, and remember Puff was out there talking about who killed R&B? You killed R&B. And I say that respectfully. I think that The fusion of hip hop and R&B elevated hip hop into urban radio, and it diluted R&B. And one genre was able to capitalize from it, where the other one just I don't want to say fell off, but got diluted from it, and had to match the energy of hip hop, and that's not what R&B is really about. I think they did a great job of mixing those worlds at Uptown and Heavy D, and but when Big came in here and Method Man, and it was like, Method Man made "I'll Be There for You" with Mary, or Big was making "One More Chance" and all this stuff. Yeah, R&B was being put in an unfair situation.
Well, actually, I mean, all Puff. I mean, people have to understand though. Puff didn't start that. Michael Bivins did.
No, he didn't start that, but
right. Let's not give him origin.
No, what I would say this. I mean, I think the people that started that can go all the way back to New Jack Swing and and what Teddy Riley was doing. But when they were doing it, R&B was still in the driver's seat. What Puff did, he gave hip hop the more edge over R&B via Biggie. And when Biggie comes through and changes that whole thing, it's like, oh, okay, well now the R&B person is the background, whereas the hip hop person was the background for the R&B person before that. When they were meshing it originally, the MC was the the quote unquote feature, but when Big did it and Puff and Big did it, the MC hip hop was at the forefront and R&B was pushed to the back. You know what I mean?
No, see, that's what I mean. Is like, now is Puff responsible for that, or is that Big's gargantuan, immense talent showing itself? Because Big when he starts doing that, it's like Heavy D meets Ice Cube, and nobody ever pulled that off before.
Puff's responsible for that because I think he gave Biggie the game to do that. Biggie's Jamaican, right? You know what I mean? Biggie's from the Caribbean. Those aren't his roots like that. I doubt that Big's mom was playing these records that he ended up getting on. You know what I'm saying, in the house when he was growing up. That's Puff's background. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I think without Puff coming along, as talented as Big is, he wouldn't have went in that direction. Puff allowed or, gave Big the direction to tap into those levels of talent that he had. And that's the genius of Puff. I will say that. I think he made Big an MC that Big never would have been without him. Big would have always been great and been a dope MC, but he wouldn't have made those records if Puff didn't come along.
Okay.
I don't think. MC with the super chat, he says, Brent Phelps, Wasteland. Haven't heard that either. I love this R&B discussion. DFW Hubie says, Herbie, sorry, says, you didn't listen to PJ Morton or Alex Isley's R&B? I like PJ Morton.
I was about to say, I like Alex Isley.
Yeah, I need to get on Alex Isley.
That's in my rotation too. I play some Wait by Alex Isley. I love Alex Isley.
According to Hip Hop Man, we need a R&B show because that's a wide open thing with these R&B acts that are making some dope music. There's no platform that they get that light on. It's crazy.
I told you, whenever
something
you want
to
start doing the R&B show, we can start doing it like a short, like we did with the Wednesday show. We can just jump in for 30 minutes and give some R&B some love.
Mad Max to the super chat says Wasteland was great, but the features weren't good. Brent was fire though, and Alicia Keys, I love you, but you need to hang it up after the Wasteland feature you did. Don't get me started on that, man.
I'll say, please do not get Mike started on Alicia Keys. It is. People do not understand this. Y'all think that it's an Eminem thing? Oh, do not get this nigga started on Alicia Keys, please. There is like Facebook has almost had to tell Mike to stop being disparaging to Alicia Keys. Okay,
disparaging. She's just overrated. She might be the most overrated artist of all time, actually.
And here we go. And
now I'll at least give Eminem this. Eminem's a lyrical technician and all that. I'll give him that. But she's not a great songwriter. She's not a great vocalist. Her songs really hadn't stood the test of time like that. Honestly, man, musically, you want to talk about being musically relevant. Like Boosie was saying, last time she was musically relevant, what was that? 06 maybe? That's being generous. Darren Harris with the super chat says, "Soccer Dad, most underrated single this year."
I mean, I just didn't like, some of her personal moves, but whatever.
Well, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I'm just saying and she keeps being able to get these platforms and will go out there, and it's so funny, man. Like, like Coop said, people follow me on Facebook and this and that, like over the years, and when she goes out there and does a national anthem, I know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm not surprised. When people will sit here and act like they're shocked that she sounds bad, I'm like, she sings out of tune. How do you play the piano and sing out of tune? Like, the piano is the instrument that tunes everything. It does. For my band people out there, like,
go ahead, Brian.
When everybody,
give a little musical instrumentation lesson, please, Mike, because people don't understand.
when you're actually getting everybody in key, they use the piano to do that. How are you a piano player and sing out of tune?
When you're vocally coaching somebody, you sit them down at the piano.
Listen, I kept this to myself for years because I was like, maybe my ears are tripping. But I remember my man Ron was dating a young lady who was a songwriter. She was in Neo's camp. And we was all hanging out one day. We was going to some store or whatever, like a department store. And they were playing the Alicia Keys song. I forgot what it was. And she was like, how do they allow her to sing out of tune like that? I was like, for you two, I feel you. And then that's when I started expressing myself. But I thought it was just me at first. I was like, she's singing out of tune. Shit's crazy. I was like, 36 Chambers says, I've never heard this Alicia Keys slander, Mike.
I told y'all, I've been listening to this forever.
I think she's...
Let me ask you something real quick since we're having a little R&B sidebar. Do you like The Diary of Alicia Keys? You don't find that to be a great piece of work?
I think it's the last good piece of work of hers. I actually had the album. I liked... I
think that album's great.
I wouldn't say great, but I think it's a good album. I think Songs in the Key of A Minor is a good album. That's my favorite album from her. I had that too back in the day.
It's not better than The Diary. Crucial Keys no, because the best writing and production that she ever got is on The Diary of Alicia Keys, in my opinion.
I mean, Kanye West made her best song, which is on there.
You Don't Know My Name is a
You
classic.
Don't Know My Name is her best song.
It's a classic, though.
Now, I will say this. The first album, I think she stepped it up from a production standpoint and songwriting standpoint on the second album. But I think from beginning to end, the first album, flows and doesn't have like any skips. I think there's some average moments on the second album, but the highlights are bigger than the highlights on the first one.
I feel the opposite. I think the first one has moments but is inconsistent, and that the second one is more consistent piece of work. The Heartburn with Timbaland.
I didn't like Heartburn like that. But see, I liked what she was doing with like Butterflies and stuff like that on the first album. And
did you like Diary? The song Diary?
I like Diary. I think that's one of her best songs too.
Okay, I think Diary might be the best song on the album.
I think that song and You Don't Know My Name are two of her best songs.
Me too. I agree with
that.
And
I will say this, Unbreakable, which I know was on like her Unplugged. I think that's one of her better songs too. But after that, man, it's like, man, we talking about stuff that's like 15 years old. Now after that, yeah, she fell off a cliff to me. I don't know.
I used to have an ex, when she used to get mad at me, she used to fucking play Samsonite, man. She is like, this your motherfucking ass.
They're saying in the chat, talk to him, Mike. Mo Better with the super chat says, Alex Isley's album is album of the year. I need to get on this Alex Isley.
Alex Isley's dope, Mike.
Yeah. Okay, I need to get on my R&B shit.
That's not Ron's, but the guitarist. That's his daughter.
Okay, gotcha.
So she's royalty already. Yeah, she loyalty and royalty already. Yeah.
Andre Shashir says, preach, Mike. She definitely is overrated. At Whitney Houston's wedding, she sounded like a rooster being choked. For real, for real. Y'all remember when she was at the inauguration? I think it was Obama's second election. And she was singing, what was it? It was the song she had out at the time. And she put Obama's name in it or something. It was horrible. Jesus. And again, I'm not saying it's being funny. It's like, as a person who, played an instrument, when I hear out of tune stuff, it's like nails on the chalkboard to me. And for a long time, I thought I was the only person hearing this. Now, on the first two albums, she sounds fine. But after she came back from Egypt or something, man, like, she's been singing out of tune. You remember she said she had an awakening or whatever? Like, she went to Egypt and stuff and came back. And it was like, ever since then.
I would like to thank you all for coming out tonight. This is Mike B from According to Hip Hop.
I don't want to get blackballed or banned from anything, but just giving my opinion.
I've been listening to this since we were in our early 20s. I've literally been listening to this.
Listen, I'm trying to go to brunches. It's nothing personal. I'm just giving my personal opinion. This is what my ears are hearing. Maybe my ears are wrong. So, anybody out there who might be giving invites to brunches and stuff, listen, it's nothing. Maybe my ears are off. It might be just me. Nicodemus with the super chat says, "You Don't Know My Name" is a classic. It sure is.
It is.
It's her best song, in my opinion. And you said the other one, Diary. I never was a big fan of Falling like that, but I love that album. You know what I'm saying?
I remember the first time I heard Falling. I remember where I was, who I was with.
Me too.
All that. Yep, it was 2:00 in the morning in Greensboro.
36 Chambers says, Mike says, I wouldn't say great. He's bugging. It's not great. DFW, excuse me, says, I feel the same way about John Legend, him and Alicia. You know what?
Hold on.
You know what? Don't get me started there either.
No. And now another word from our sponsor, Mike B, with the hateration in this dancery. Go ahead with John Legend, Mike. You might as well finish the job off. They done started. Y'all would pick the two people. I don't believe this shit. Go ahead, Mike.
I like John Legend's first album. I think that once again, the second album is a classic. After that, he's made music for Caucasian weddings.
That's not how you frame it when we're behind the scenes.
I mean, listen, at this point, man, I've never seen there's been two acts, and John's one of them, that have just totally changed course. I think Maroon 5 is another. Like, they're a whole different band. Like, Songs About Jane, if you got put on to Maroon 5 and Songs About Jane and you listen to Moves Like Jagger and all that, it's a whole different group. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen a black artist come in the game so soulful and damn near lose all their soul. And I say, I'm not trying to be funny, but you guys got to be real. Like, you don't hear no soul in John Legend's music now. Now, and we always talk about the old Kanye. Fuck that. Give me the old John Legend, nigga. How about that? How does he escape that slander? We separate Kanye West as, I want the old Kanye and this and that. No, give me the old John Legend. This new John Legend, he's like a knockoff Michael Bublé or something. And I like Michael Bublé. I say that.
This has been great.
36 Chambers says, we need a show with Mike just going off on Eminem, Alicia Keys, and John Legend. Just the whole show of hating. Man, I ain't hating. Y'all know what I'm saying is true. Alicia Keys sings out of tune, and John Legend don't sing with no soul. It's what it is. Is that hating? It's the truth.
So they some soulless, non-singing, light-skinned ass niggas.
That's why when they did the verses, it was perfect. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not watching this one. No debate.
Hold on. Somebody brought up, Alicia did freak the Brooklyn Zoo shit. Girlfriend was actually my favorite song. Girlfriend and How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore. Obviously, I'm a Prince fan. Those were my two favorite songs on the first album.
I like her version of How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore.
Jermaine Dupri
did that, yeah.
I thought that was the best produced record on there. JD Strikes Again.
But you could tell that song was made early, you know what I mean? Early in her Columbia days, because it didn't really fit on the album per se, but it was too good for them to pass up. I think Girlfriend was one of those songs for the time they wanted to have out there just in case it did work. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you couldn't just pass up a record like that. But when you listen to the whole album, it really doesn't fit on the album. But yeah, I mean, keep it real, guys. Did any of y'all watch the John Legend and Alicia Keys verses? Let's keep it real. Who won?
Can I be honest with you? I forgot they had one till you said something.
Yeah. They had their pianos back to back or something. I was like,
They did?
yeah, it was something like that. No, I mean, guys, did y'all watch it? I mean, let's just be real. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, throw Beyonce in there too, then, because she's overrated. Now, we're not going to do that. Beyonce's not overrated.
No.
Beyonce is
We're
a
already not invited
once-in-a-lifetime
to the brunch.
talent.
We're already not invited to the brunch. I mean...
No, I'm just being honest here, and I'm not saying that to kiss ass. Beyonce's an incredible talent. Now, she doesn't make music for me specifically, but I can see the talent, and I'm not going to deny the talent. Like, her performance is crazy. Now, I might not be riding around listening to Beyonce's music because she doesn't make music for me. But the performer that she is, nah, man, she's something else. We got to get out of here, man. 36 Chambers says, I'm going to start describing... 36 Chambers says, I'm going to start describing John Legend to people as a singer for Caucasian weddings. I'll never hear his music the same. And you can't say that about the first 2 albums, but everything else after that.
Oh, man.
I mean, even on the Metro album, he's so predictable.
I knew
it's like if you see a John Legend feature, you already know what you're going to get. It's going to like, whoa. It's like, switch up your flow, man. And I love you, John. I really mean that. Switch it up sometimes, man, Green Light was a switch up, and I liked Green Light. It was cool.
Green Light was really dope. And I would like to thank everybody that's actually here right now watching. It's not just Coop who be going off and snapping on people. Mike does quite the tirade role when he feels compelled to.
Aaliyah is better than
all you light-skinned
Beyonce.
niggas out here that singing need to protect your neck. All you light-skinned, piano playing, singing ass niggas.
I mean, I just don't understand how a piano player can sing out of tune so consistently. It's just wild to me.
You've made my head hurt, Mike. Like, my head is down.
It's just wild to me, man. Like, hey, y'all got to stop saying that Aaliyah is better than Beyonce. That's just not true. Mm-hmm. And rest in peace to Baby Girl.
I think the music is better, but I would.
It could be, but if we talking about overalls, I mean, y'all seen Coachella? Shit was crazy. Now I don't agree with Jigga Man saying it was Michael Jackson level, but it's great. It's great. Let's get out of here, man. Before I say something.
Right.
KC1 with the super chat says, I'm sorry I grew up with Janet and Mariah. B is overrated. Let's be real. Now
if you're comparing her to Janet,
she's not Janet. Nah, I didn't say that.
She ain't Janet. Who is? I told you Janet could give Prince and Mike a run catalog wise. Yeah, like if she had to go up against her brother in a versus, I think the only person that would take more songs off Mike is Prince. You feel me?
Yeah.
His sister. Yeah, it's Janet. It's Miss Jackson.
I mean, you look at that 4-album run, I think only Stevie compares to that Control, Rhythm Nation, Janet, and Velvet Rope run.
Yes.
That run is crazy. I mean, you could ask 10 different people and they'll probably give you different answers of what, in the order of that album run. I personally, right now, and I change all the time, I say Rhythm Nation at number 1. I might say Control, Velvet Rope, and Janet. And all of these are great albums. And it's crazy to even say that with the Janet album being 4th, because the Janet album's crazy. It got That's the Way Love Goes on. I love that album. If is on there.
I think
Velvet Rope might be 4th, but it's brilliant too.
Velvet Rope is 4th.
Yeah.
I would tell you this. Control, the songs on Control it's very Thriller Purple Rain.
It is.
It's very Thriller Purple Rain, like how almost every song on there is a motherfucking banger.
You want me to go through Control real quick before we get out of here?
Please do, because I think
for the people at home, because we know there's only one song on Control that's not a hit. The album goes like this: Control, Nasty, What Have You Done For Me Lately, You Could Be Mine. That's the one that's not a hit, right? Pleasure Principle. When I Think of You. Oh, He Doesn't Know I'm Alive. That was the other one. Let's Wait a
like that
While.
record.
Yeah,
He
it's a
doesn't
dope.
know how live
It's a dope record. Yeah. Let's Wait a While. Funny How Time Flies. That's
Those
the
might
album.
be my two favorite Janet records. Let's Wait a While and Funny How I play Funny How Time Flies. How about this, Mike? I could pull up my YouTube music right now. Funny How Time Flies was my #1 song that I streamed last year on YouTube Music.
That's crazy. But
Yeah,
see,
so-
Rhythm Nation, and this is why I got Rhythm Nation at #1 for me. You got Rhythm Nation, you got this run right here. I Miss You Much, Love Will Never Do Without You, Living in the World Today, All Right, and Escapade. Jesus.
No,
And then
hold
Black
on, Mike,
Cat.
keep going.
We'll keep going. Black Cat, Lonely. Come Back, Baby, Come Back to Me.
Now stop.
Jeez.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Work.
So when I'm saying she can give Mike and Prince some run, it's like, man, you better know your history. Me and Mike just went through the first 2 albums. We just named about 15 classic songs, motherfucker.
Right.
Don't tell me that she can't give nobody no run. No, she got run, Mike. We ain't even touch the Janet album, just the Rhythm Nation and Control.
Yeah.
I would actually tell you that Control is still the best because it's very Purple Rain and Thriller. Like, it ain't every song on there damn near is classic.
I think the production was bumped up,
dated.
And the subject matter was bumped up on Rhythm Nation. But
like, I'm gonna tell, and this is what I mean about how it's classic. Like, you could play What Have You Done for Me Lately right now, and it still sounds funky.
Great record.
It's a great record.
Pleasure Principle is my favorite song on there. It's a top 3 Janet song for me.
Funny How Time Flies was mine.
Love that record too.
That shit beautiful.
I think her best song to me is either. I think it's what Love Will Never Do Without You. Great song.
Now, you know, Rhythm Nation had 7 songs peak in top 5 in the Billboard.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Well deserved.
And but you know, here's what I'll tell you is that the Janet album, even though it's probably 3rd on that run, I think her most beautiful music is on that album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, That's the Way Love Goes. If, Again, The Body That Loves You.
Yeah.
Anytime, Any Place. My Joint, Where Are You Now? Oh my God, that record is beautiful. Where Are You Now?
Beautiful records.
Beautiful records on the Janet album. You Want This with Light.
Love You
Throb.
Want This.
Remember Throb? Remember when she did Throb on Saturday Night Live, Mike? It's like this at the TV.
What I'll Do. I love that record. And Because of Love, like, dope record.
Because of Love, right?
I love
Mike?
Because of Love.
Like, just on the first 3 albums, she got enough to compete with anybody.
Mad Max to the super chat. We're gonna get out of here. He says, as long as we all know, Mary J from Yonkers is the GOAT. We love Mary.
She's not better than Janet. I'm sorry, but yeah,
she's not better than Janet.
She's not better than Janet.
But I think she would possibly beat Mariah in the verses.
She can beat Mariah. She can't beat Janet. Ain't nothing beat Janet. Ain't nobody beating Janet. Ain't no female walking around beating Janet and know nothing. Nothing.
That's why Sheila E. over Beyonce. See, now y'all hating now.
Y'all,
all right,
y'all
let's get out of here.
It's time to go. We out. Y'all trick.